Great Tuesday morning, everybody. Hope you are doing well. Your midday hang has reported for duty. It's Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Always great to be here. Annie Heilbrunn is here. My name is Craig Elsten, joined as always by Braden Suprenant. We're together in our Odyssey studios overlooking sunny Murphy Canyon, ready to roll 4 hours live local San Diego sports audio entertainment. Getting you in between Ben and Woods and Gwen and Chris today. Ben and Woods already on the road, heading out. If you boys are listening to us, hope you have safe travels. What's going on, Annie? How are you?
I'm doing great. And yes, I wish Ben Woods and Polly safe travels to Arizona. Hope they get their credentials in time. Should be very nice weather out there. So look forward to hearing from them all throughout the week. But yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody listening. Thanks for being here. Braden, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Annie. After late night of playing softball, per usual.
Oh, yes.
Good to go.
Monday and Wednesday nights are your...
Monday, Wednesday nights. Wednesday we have playoffs, apparently. I didn't realize that until I said in. And they're like, oh, it's playoffs. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Gotta get to a different level of locked in then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta come in with the headphones in and just be locked in. We do have a guy on the team that does that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, dude, it's not that.
Where's the sunglasses and the suit?
He's got the hoodie on. He's got the hoodie on. He's got the AirPods in. It's getting locked in to go give a courtesy swing and then pop up.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is what it is.
He's mentally
That's right.
locking in.
There's a lot of guys there's a lot of guys and gals out there that need to lock in for softball. I'm not one of those.
Just go ahead and get a chicken basket at the Sportsplex.
That's right.
It.
They got
a
a good chicken basket at the Sportsplex. Tyler, good spot there. Game day outfit photos on the way in.
Exactly.
That would actually be hilarious.
Yeah.
Softball fits.
Well, so there's a team out there.
That'd be good.
There's a team out there that plays on Wednesdays. The team captain the guy that runs the team, his name's Anthony, and they're called Bush League, but spelled like the beer, right? And so they have like these Bush Light kind of jerseys and stuff like that.
All right.
They have a social media account for Instagram, X, and TikTok, and they, in a trolling way, make videos like that. Like they have
slow-mo,
like they have
checks.
some like some hype stuff. They do like NFL film, because a couple guys on the team love shooting and editing videos. And so they make all of these like NFL film style videos of the game, but then they also do like kind of comedy ones too. So it's pretty hilarious.
It's like a parody.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't take themselves too seriously. That's the way they should do it.
That's great.
Well, neither do we here on the show. What do we got for you today? We got a solid Tuesday program lined up for you. Guest light at the moment. We'll see if something shakes out over the course of the next 4 hours. But as for now, I think we're just going to roll with those of us here in the room. We will, of course, bring you the Padres Deep Dive Hour coming up at 11 o'clock. Padres are playing at 12 o'clock today, not on these airwaves, on Padres.com. They will play host to the LA Angels of Anaheim.
Of Fullerton, of Irvine, of Newport, of
the Halos.
A lot of new additions to the Angels.
A lot of new meaningless additions.
All of those additions.
Halos.
One stands for another city in Orange County.
Indeed. So we will get into all of that in the 11 a.m. hour, really kind of focusing on a couple of the guys fighting for roster spots on this team. Eggy Rosario had another step forward game yesterday, including starting in left field. Kyle Hart is throwing on the backfields today.
Right.
We've got some Sam Levitt sound with Kyle Hart to present to you. And Terso Ornelas homered again yesterday. So far, he's 3 for 7 with a bomb, 2 walks, no strikeouts. He's doing quite well for himself, and yet feels like the forgotten soldier, so to speak.
Well, he's definitely making a case, but yeah, I mean, he's got to, now that you look at Eggy Rosario and you look at Connor Joe and you look at Jason Hayward and Gavin Sheets, he's got to, I want to say push them all out because they aren't all guaranteed, I guess. I guess besides maybe Jason Hayward and Connor Joe, but you've got to show that you have earned that spot and taken it away from someone else, essentially.
Yeah, he was the minor league hitter of the year for the Padres last year. He was like sort of on the top of the depth chart for DH or left field
He
in the
really
winter.
was, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Padres have just very consistently put people in front of him over the course of the last several weeks and been like, well, here's a guy who could play instead of Terso. Here's a guy who could play instead of Terso. So we're going to hear from Terso Ornelas coming up in the 11:30 segment, a guy who very well could be fighting for a job, or is he fighting for a job on another roster?
Yeah.
You know, does
he have options? Can he stay in the minors?
I think he has one more option.
Because maybe they're also looking at that, like, okay, if one of these guys doesn't work out, or if we can pull him up. But I agree with you. I think at this point, if you're Terso, just like Aggie, you want regular playing time. You want to be able to show that you can, belong on a major league roster, and that might be with another team.
It just very well might. So we'll talk about all of our, typical Padres stuff at 11. We'll see what Sammy shakes out in the next couple of hours between here and there. There's usually a surprise or two for us to present to you during the midday show. And then later on, after the 12 o'clock Sports Fix, we'll give you, as always, the Daily Shildt. We'll bring you all of Mike Shildt's proclamations pre-game, and then we'll keep you up to date in the second half of the show as the Padres and the Angels do battle. Good news, bad news for San Diego State. The good news is Magungwath probably will play again this year. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. The bad news is he may not play during the time that the Aztecs need wins. Got to get wins now while he's out. Tonight, a huge game against New Mexico at home. Another one of those ridiculously late starts.
Yeah, they're up against it because this is the last of 4 games, right? I mean, they've got 4 games. Is that right? To kind of make their case, I guess you could say. And he's not expected to come back tonight. Could he come back by the next game? Maybe, but I don't know.
We'll get into it more in the next segment in 2. But yeah, that's a big story that is lurking out there. And I think the biggest local sports story today, plain and simple, is New Mexico at San Diego State tonight, 8 p.m.-ish because of CBS Sports Network. So
you're definitely going to forget.
100% I'm going to forget.
Well, plus the game in front of them will go to overtime for no reason.
Every single time. Every
No
time. It'll be 8:25 when the Aztecs finally grace our screens. If you're busy enough to check them out. So we'll get into a game preview coming up in the next segment. Lots more to roll through between here and 2 p.m. when Gwen and Chris will check in. We'll also bring you, of course, the 12 o'clock Sports Fix coming up at the midpoint of the program with all the sports news of the day. We will play Anybody Knows for today's silly game. Still qualifying folks for a trip to Vegas to see Motley Crue and stay in a swanky hotel and do the whole thing. So we will do that around 12:45, and we will wrap up the program with Ask Us Anything, and that will be the final segment of the show. We'll take your voice messages as well. You can leave us a voice message on Odyssey. It was proven yesterday, I believe, Braden, that the system once again works.
I think I was angry.
We did have someone that was upset with us, though.
Whatever, bro. Put the fries in the bag, my guy. The guy was probably a Dodger fan, is upset.
Yeah. Well, listen, I like to be accurate. I like to do everything in good faith. He said we were mispronouncing Haesung Kim's name.
I think it's Haesung. Haesung.
Haesung Kim.
It wasn't high. We thought it was high, but it's not high. I think it's Haesung. I think.
But certainly not Joe.
No.
Which is what they were saying.
What
the Dodgers fans were saying. Was Joe Sun Kim. So I don't think it's Joe. Regardless, we want to say the guy's name correctly.
Yeah,
so,
I do.
We appreciate
I wasn't the one calling him the wrong guy.
Right.
I do want to get his name correctly.
We would like to do that. So we'll endeavor to do that as the show goes on. Figure out the exact pronunciation of what?
Haesung, like H-E-H, I think.
I
think that's what I researched it yesterday, and I felt like that's what I came up with.
Yeah, it's not even on Baseball Reference yet.
Yeah. But that's what I saw. It's like people were saying hi, and then everyone was like, no, it's not hi, it's he. Yeah.
More like that.
I think that's what I've landed on. So until someone tells me it's not that, I'm going with that.
Also still to come on the show. Yes.
He might start in the minors. I just saw now. It's total Dodgers news. No one needs in the, world.
Dodgers news you
But
can use.
I was
Thanks,
just
Sam
looking at
570.
Twitter and I saw that Dave Roberts said he might actually, I think, start in the minors. So
what could have been?
For our listener who was saying we pronounced his name wrong, there's a little piece of news for you. Okay.
Have fun learning in Oklahoma City.
Some of the AAA announcers will get it right. Don't worry.
Once they put the pronunciation guide out, which they don't have,
which they don't currently have, as you well.
And he's
know.
been called by 6 different names on MLB Network.
Yes.
Sung Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All of that to come. Plus, Luka gets his first shot at revenge tonight. We have a Luka revenge game.
Yes.
On the immediate horizon as the Mavericks come to LA. What will Doncic have in store for the Mavs? Something we can get into as the show continues. We are underway, rolling until 2:00. When we come back, we're going to get into a low-key important game for San Diego State. It's not the end of the world if they don't win it today, as Braden has explained to us on past shows.
They actually moved up last night.
Solid.
They moved up to a bye spot, last 4 bye, without even playing. Joel Lenardi, I don't know what he's doing, but moving on up.
Sometimes, yeah,
that's what
sometimes just by standing still, you can move forward.
They moved up in the
these
latest
days.
bracketology.
Right.
They jumped up to one of the top spots of the last 4 buys. I mean, with a win today, they could play themselves out of the bubble.
Look out.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into that. Plus, one stat that I heard this morning that just had me tickled pink. Little college basketball on the other side of this break. Padres Deep Dive Hour at the top of the hour. It's Annie and Elsten. Always great to be with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, everybody. 1018 on the Fan. It's Annie and Elsten here with you. Annie Halpin, Craig Elsten, and Braden Soprenet rolling till 2 o'clock today. Well, for San Diego State, it's been a weird season. A good season overall. I mean, you know, when you lost the number of players that the Aztecs did, coming in with a very young team, unsure who was going to be the focal point of the offense, transfers that are expected to carry the load, a freshman that was expected to step up in Magungwath. I don't know that there were the same level of, well, they always make the tournament, expectations for San Diego State this year, other than they're a great program. They always make the tournament. So we just assume that Brian Dutcher is going to figure it out. It certainly seemed around the turn of the year that the Aztecs had definitely figured it out and were a rock solid tournament level team. Then that weird 3-week stretch of teams that they were favored to beat by 15, that they would be trailing by 18, and then rally dramatically to win by 2 or 3, each time taking a hit in the metrics as they went. Now, you know, lost to Utah State after a big win over Boise State, but Magungwath injured. And yesterday I was going like, committee hates that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
For a February, March team to lose a key player. That's the type of thing that the committee looks at in some ways more than the bouquet of numbers that they have presented for each team's evaluation. So with that, I guess we just kind of have to hang our hat, Annie, on a metaphorical peg that I'm not sure how strong it is, but the peg of clean MRI, still swelling in Gwath's knee, but they think he should be able to come back on the court this year.
Right. And I think that's all you can really do is just go forward, play your best basketball, make your case for you've got a guy who's supposed to come back and you're still playing well and you're still fighting for a spot and you're still keeping yourself relevant. And maybe that kind of makes the case of, okay, this guy's supposed to come back and they're still, you know, holding court there. They're still able to stay in it. Of course, it would probably change if they lose the next few games, you know, but this is a tough one for the Aztecs. And I think if you look forward even to future repercussions, if they don't make the tournament, you can definitely look at injuries, and they were hit with injuries this year. But one thing that I think Brian Dutcher and Steve Fisher and this program has built is when you are recruiting and you don't have the NIL money that other schools may have, you do get to hang your hat on. But look, we're in the tournament every year. We make it to the tournament. You know, we have a run. And I do think it will hurt them in some case, in some situation, if they don't make it, and in recruiting at least a little bit, you know, if it's a deciding factor. Well, hey, we're supposed to make it this year, but we didn't make it. But again, you know, look, you can point to injuries. Every team has them, but they definitely did hit the Aztecs. And then they had those weeks, like you said, that they just didn't really dominate the way that they could have or should have. So hopefully this is like a rallying thing, right? Like they had that rallying players only meeting a few weeks ago. And maybe you look at this the same way. Hey, one of our best players is out right now, but we're going to play our best brand of baseball, give ourselves a chance and hope that he can make it back.
Absolutely. And Braden, when I'm looking at, you know, you provided for us on the rundown, WarrenNolan.com, really good breakdown team by team. And I look at San Diego State's breakdown. The one thing that they've got going for them that's just not going to go away, it's not going to go away at all in terms of what the committee's looking at is that non-conference strength of schedule ranking that is 10th.
That's now 10th because Houston beat Tech last night in Lubbock and solidified the Big 12 championship, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, Houston's got 4 losses this year. One of them is to the San Diego State Aztecs. And that is the champion of arguably one of the best conferences in college basketball, if not second best behind the SEC right now. So the fact that you beat the Big 12 champion at the beginning of the year is taking you very far. Creighton doing pretty well in the Big East as well has helped you out. But you look at the difference between, and this is why getting out of the Mountain West is so important for the Aztecs. Their strength of schedule is 56 in the country. Their non-conference strength of schedule, as Craig mentioned, is 10. The 10th best non-conference schedule in the country out of 380-something schools. So that's a big reason, I think, why they jumped up last night was Houston went to Lubbock and kicked Tech's ass.
Yeah.
And so the Aztecs get the benefit of the doubt on that. And you look at some of the impact games today, there's a lot of impact games today for San Diego State. Obviously, the one against New Mexico tonight. An Aztec win tonight gets them 73 points in the RPI, which is a huge boost. And then if you just go down the list of the other Mountain West games, if they go chalk, which means if they go what is expected to happen based on the favorites, San Diego State tonight will pick up 75 points in the RPI if they win, which is a huge jump for them. And all of a sudden they're moving up even further, and they probably solidify themselves in the NCAA tournament, especially with Lenardi's latest ranking of the Aztecs going from the second team on the last four in to the second highest team in the last four buys. That's a major jump for not even playing last night. One more win tonight probably puts them in, but I think we said they needed to win 3 more games. They got 2 left on their deal to basically clinch a spot.
And Go Aztecs in the chat says, I think they have exceeded their expectations with no Reese Waters, 3 key contributors that left in the portal, a very young team. SDSU should get more credit for what they're doing. And I agree with you. I just don't know if everyone else sees it the same way. But I definitely understand what you're saying there. Like, they have done well for being a young team and a mostly inexperienced team, or a lesser experienced team, I guess you could say. And having the injuries that they have, I just don't know that that will be the way that everyone else sees it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Go Aztecs, you make a very fine point, but that's a point for those who are around San Diego State. Like, look at these mitigating factors. This season is a little bit better than just the raw numbers. That's true and correct. However, trust me when I tell you the 300 something other schools and maybe like the 80 schools that are fighting for spots, they've all got their own individual stories as well.
They'll talk about their injuries or what they've had to overcome. Exactly.
Precisely. And when you dig into those, you'll find the people that transferred off of those teams and, the ways that they had to overcome this, that, and the other things. So, really in the end, it comes down for the committee to the bouquet of numbers that they have. They're going to look at all those things. They're going to sort things in obvious ways. But when they get to the close calls, when they get to the teams that are barely separated, the teams that are a decimal point apart, then they get to things such as, how are you playing lately? How are your best players playing? Is this team healthy, or have they lost key contributors along the way? How do we project their future, not their past?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think, and I'm sure the team knows this, and I'm not saying anything that is shocking. You just got to play your best basketball. Like, you've got to show that you're not wallowing in the dumps of who you just lost or what might be happening, or that you might not make it in the tourney. And they've never shown indications that they're doing that. So you got to go out there and you got to fight. And I think if you do that, you give yourselves a chance to show, like, no, don't count us out yet. We are fighting and we are scrappy and we are going to do everything we can to, at the end of the season, at least say that we tried as hard as we could.
Yeah, as long as aside from College Football Playoff Committee, which is drastically different than all these other committees for all the other tournaments that are run by the NCAA. And again, the College Football Playoff is not run by the NCAA. It's a separate entity. But you look at the way the NCAA committees have put together tournaments for all sports, including basketball, they really value, and this is why a lot of teams schedule like this, they really value that. And, every year is maybe a little different, so maybe they might change their mind. But they always value that non-conference strength of schedule, because that is the schedule you can control.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the one that you pick. Right. So they look at San Diego State. It's like, look, they picked the schedule of they entered in that tournament, that, the players tournament. They're playing in these games. They decided to play Gonzaga. Right. UCSD doing well helps San Diego State as also. But, they put together a top 10 schedule in college basketball. They're going to get rewarded for that. And even though their conference isn't very good, they have to play those games. It's not their fault. Those games were given to them, on top of the fact that this year you had to play every team in the Mountain West Conference home and away. It's the first time that they did the 20-game schedule or whatever it is for non-conference. So, or for conference games, which eliminated more non-conference spots that the Aztecs could have filled with also better teams in their schedule. So when you look at what the team has control of, in terms of their overall success, it's the non-conference schedule, and having a top 10 non-conference schedule and going 4-5 in quad one is a good step for the Aztecs. And here's the other thing too. I've seen it before with other teams. I think San Diego State is at a point where they are recognizable now in the NCAA tournament, and they have that, are they a power brand? I don't know if they're at that level yet, but the fact that they're in the Final Four in the national championship a couple of years ago, the fact that they've been in the NCAA tournament almost year in and year out, that goes a long way as well for these committees when compared to other schools that don't have that same tournament recognition.
Yeah.
And I think San Diego State is in that particular field right now when it comes to getting the benefit of the doubt. Now, other schools that also get the benefit of the doubt are teams like North Carolina.
Yes.
San Diego State's better than North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina is not very good, but it's North Carolina. So they're hovering around the bubble. But when you look at a team like Boise State and you look like a team like San Diego State's going to get the benefit of the doubt, because the other thing is when the Mountain West schools go to the tournament, they lose except for one school, and it's San Diego State. Mm-hmm. So in comparison to where they're at with some of the schools that they play, I think Arkansas is going to get the benefit of the doubt because of their coach. Those kind of factors play in, but I think the Aztecs get a lot of those pluses when it comes to the deciding whether or not they're in or out in the committee. But if they win tonight, I think they're in. I think they're a lock. I don't think you have to worry about anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And
I agree.
Looking specifically at this game before we go to break, I hope you're catching the Lobos at maybe the right time to not have Magoon Guath. Now, New Mexico massacred the Aztecs on the offensive glass the first time they played. San Diego State actually played okay at the pit, and then they gave up a stupid number of offensive rebounds. I think it was like 19 offensive rebounds to New Mexico. So losing Guath hurts in that sense. That's a 7-footer that could be up there grabbing rebounds. But to be honest, Guath is more of a rim protector and an offensive force than he has been a pure rebounding force this year. So I think guys like Miles Heide, who probably steps into the starting lineup for Goon tonight, he's got the body to box out, to get boards. I think Jared Coleman-Jones are huge in terms of what can they do on the boards, what can they do to limit second chance opportunities for New Mexico.
And this is like where you're like next man up. Like, okay, you're down a guy, but like other players have to step up and they have to get to that production that you're missing or even better. And that's where I think they have a real opportunity to do that, because you know what, once you do that and you do it with a guy out, you build confidence for your entire team that you can then take forward, because now you just won without him and you stepped up without him. And so imagine when you get him back, right? Like you're proving to yourself that you've got that. So Viejas is going to be rocking tonight. It's a big game. And I agree. This is one, if they win, and they put themselves in a good spot.
And the other thing I like about this matchup is that New Mexico is a guard-oriented team. Their key player is their point guard, Donovan Dent, averages just under 20 points a game, averages 6.5 assists per game. Well, who's going to be guarding him? Now we're talking about Boyd. Now we're talking about Bird. We're talking about the perimeter defenders of San Diego State, who are dynamite. So, while Dent may find a little bit more room to get to the rim tonight because Guath isn't there, you'd like to think that this is the type of matchup that could work out for San Diego State. There's a key injury maybe for the Lobos. Mustafa Amzil, one of their big burly forwards, has missed the last 2 games with a foot injury. So maybe SDSU gets a little bit of a break, and both teams are down a big instead of just SDSU being down a big. But this is going to be a critical game. If they win, as Braden said, just underlining it, if they win, pretty close to a tournament ticket.
Yeah.
Pretty close to a tournament ticket.
And I think, that's the spot you want to be in. You want to leave tonight with a victory and make it very hard for the committee not to put you in.
The least amount of pressure at Thomas and Mack, the better. That's basically where you got to be at right now.
Exactly.
I mean, if they lose 3 after this, they're probably in trouble again. But, a win against New Mexico, it's probably significant enough where you'll overcome anything else in the next couple of games. But they're favored in the next 3. They're playing Wyoming with the net of 182. UNLV's got a net of 103, even though they already lost them this year. And then Nevada's got a net of 72. Not a bunch of world beaters to finish out the season. So you got to take care of business against New Mexico, win a game or two in the Mountain West tournament, and then you're probably looking at a higher seed. You can be an 8 or a 9 seed, which would probably be better than 10. But I'd rather be a 10 seed in the West than a 8 or 9 in the East. I'll tell you that.
I hear you. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, the other team in town is trying to burnish their tournament resume. We'll look at what's going on with UCSD. Also, a Luca revenge game is on the horizon. We've got a grab bag of sports topics for you in the 10:35 segment. Padres Deep Dive Hour comes your way at the top of the hour. Stay right there, friends. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fans, presented by T-Mobile. You can head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. You can do that. Righty. Annie and Elsten here with you. We were just spending the break chatting with one of our chatters about SDFC tickets. Looks like, I'm just looking at the ticket portal. I was just looking at it. It looks like a pretty robust sale. There's handfuls of tickets in multiple sections, but still, it's not like there's open sections at Snapdragon Stadium.
Like for this first game or for...
Yeah, for the first game.
I would think the first game, the tickets would be pretty high just because it's probably going to be sold out, or it is sold out, or it's close to being sold out. But hopefully people can get in. I'd heard something that you couldn't get in for even low-level prices were pretty high. I mean, can you check that for future games?
Well, yeah, I can check that for future games. What I'm seeing for the first game is that like the cheapest seats look like they're $100. Like the upper deck seats are $99.
I just wondered if that was like because this first game would be so popular, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, dynamic pricing, right?
Right, exactly. Like, but I'm honestly not sure. I haven't looked into it a ton. So maybe fans who have bought tickets can let us know, or have looked into buying tickets, what the pricing is like.
I'm on their website right now. They're up the upper deck tickets for the game against the Crew, Columbus Crew. Is that the second game?
Yes, I think so.
If they're in the middle in the upper deck, as in like 50-yard line, those are $80. And then if you're in the corner, they're $50. But that's the upper deck.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing for. I looked ahead a little bit too to Sounders on April 5th, and lower level, like the ultimate priciest ones are like $285, but that's like right in the middle of the club. The thing where you've got the behind the scenes swanky place that you can go into at Snapdragon. 120 lower deck, end zone 80. Upper deck between 67 and all the way to the corners at $37.80.
Oh, so you can get in for $37.
Yeah, in the corners of the top corners, which is usually where they put like the visiting supporters and so on and so forth. But so it looks to me like they're got a very highly priced first game, and then things are going to settle into a more reasonable spot. And listen, as you know, Annie, the market finds its level. Like if they're overpricing their seats, people won't buy them. The resale market will struggle. And I don't actually even know what the SDFC resale situation is. Like, I don't know if full season ticket members can put their games up like Padres fans can. Like I'm unaware of that.
Yeah, so. I have no idea. I definitely understand. I've heard from other people who want to maybe bring their families, like how much can you get in for like a family of 4? Are you paying upwards of $50 a ticket for the MLS game? And I don't know like what the comparison is. So hopefully people will, I'll definitely research more, and hopefully people will educate us a little bit more too about maybe what it's like in other cities, or what it's like, throughout the season. But I understand concerns for sure. And hopefully, like you said, there is kind of like a point where they find that's beneficial to locals who are trying to get into MLS, as well as probably doing what they need to do to, keep their costs where they need to be at Snapdragon.
Yeah. Hey, this is all going to get sorted out over time.
If people don't go, obviously I'm saying, hopefully you go, but like if people don't go, then the tickets prices, I would imagine, would come down. Like if they're too high,
Right. If you miss your mark, then you change your mark. I mean, that's happened all the time. I'm sure the club is counting on this huge result. Okay, cool. There's Harry in the chat. Says, I'm a season ticket holder. I can sell mine like Padres. I sold mine for the first game way under the current price. Whoops. Wish you had held on to him, brother.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Bought high and sold low. Yeah. Not the philosophy you want to live by.
That's the wrong philosophy. Go Aztecs asks, will they do a local TV broadcast or just Apple TV? They will only do Apple TV. Apple TV has the exclusive television rights to every Major League Soccer match. So whether or not, and we talked to their announcer last week. We'll have on someone from Apple's MLS 360 show a little bit later this week. But my understanding is no matter what, every match is on Apple TV Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very standardized. You won't be like, oh yeah, no, you can watch this one on Fox, but it's not on Apple, or you can watch this one on ESPN, but it's like every match is on Apple. So very, very straightforward in terms of that aspect of it. But hey, it's part of the bet. It's part of the bet of SDFC, and it's a tricky bet. Is if you're not, and I heard the afternoon show kind of go on and on about this yesterday, but if you're not a soccer fan off the top, if you are a complete casual, no true reference to the sport, but you're casual interested, right? Like hey, I'm curious. I'm soccer curious. I'm not soccer interested yet, but I'm soccer curious. To be perfectly honest, they have not made it easy for you. It's not like they have just given you a garden path to becoming a fan, because you are going to have to make an investment.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to have to either invest your time to go somewhere that is showing the match, or you're going to have to invest your money to go ahead and buy the MLS season pass on Apple.
Yes. So far, you're not seeing like an inaugural get to know the MLS discount in San Diego. That is not happening locally, like within the broadcast or within the stadium or anything like that. Now, they might not need that. They might be like, hey, we got enough eyeballs that we don't need to do that. But I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, do they know?
Yeah.
Like, do they have any idea like where their actual audience is, where their actual market is, and will the first game tell you anything? Usually the first game,
it's very deceiving,
right? It's got a lot of looky-loos.
It's going to be popular, and I think it should be. I mean, I'm excited for Saturday, and everybody who goes, I bet it's a close to sold out crowd, and it should be really passionate and fun. And then you got to see, hey, how does it hold up over the course of a season? It's that's really the true marker.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Tim says in the chat, some games do get on Fox, or Apple TV has multiple free weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if last weekend was a free weekend or next one is, but like they do
last
that.
weekend was a free weekend on Apple TV Plus. Yeah. It was Sunday Night Soccer or whatever. So it was like the game of the week or whatever.
Yeah. So you're going to have some bleed over, but really it is, you've either got to buy a ticket to go, or you've got to watch, and there is an investment hurdle to get over for that. And, if you already are an Apple TV subscriber, like I have been forever, like probably many of you are, because you got it with your phone or you got it with whatever, then the price is down $20. It's only $80 for the season. It's $100 if you were coming in cold.
Got it.
From the outside. You could do $15 a month if you wanted to be a little bit more of I'm not sure, I'm dipping my toe in.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch a month, but if I don't like it, I'm going to get the heck out of here. So those are the ways that they attack it.
Also, refresh my memory. Is it will if you're attending locally, is it like a game a week, and then is there a period when there's no games? Like, are you pretty consistently going like a game a week for the next 6 months?
There's going to be a lot of soccer on the weekends. I mean,
like here,
there will be 17 home matches plus the League's Cup. So I think there'll be 20 home matches for SDFC over the course of the spring and the summer.
Yeah.
And
because I was thinking it could be a little harder if like there's big breaks or there's like periods of time where you just, don't see them or hear from them.
Yeah, no, it's going to be pretty consistent. I mean, 34 game schedule. Then you've got the League's Cup on top of that. And then on top of that, you've got the Cholos and Club America friendlies that they're going to do along the way. So there might be like 22 home games over the course of the year. And then you mix in the Wave and the other weekends, and it's going to be a very soccer-filled
I
summer.
thought there was like something last year where there was like a hiatus for like, I don't know.
Was that for the World Cup?
Maybe it was the World Cup or something.
It was probably for the World Cup. Yeah.
Don't listen to me.
I mean, no, please do.
All right. Okay. Well, that's, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Look, let's be real. Okay. Baseball starts, the Padres start in the end of March.
Yep.
Wave starts as well.
Yep.
You've got a Legion playing over at
Torero.
You've got Mojo playing. Gulls are playing right now. Seals are playing right now.
Seals are going. Soccers are going.
Yeah,
going.
Soccers are going. Exactly. So, like, how does it all pan out? How does, once everything is kind of in flux, even at Snapdragon, you're going to have Wave, SDFC, And I guess not football until later on in the
football in
season.
the
But
fall,
and Padres down the road. So how does that all kind of balance out? Like where do people put their dollars? It's going to be interesting thing to follow.
I have all the get-in prices for like the season according to SeatGeek.
Mm-hmm.
At least what people have listed, that's without fees. The cheapest ticket for the season so far is when the Rapids come to town on May 14th. It's a Wednesday at 7:30. That's $27 to get in.
There you go. Wednesday night issues.
Most of them are like all the Saturday games are $50, $35. I think is the cheapest one. Austin FC comes to town in May over Memorial Day weekend. That might be the weekend
and
after.
Is dynamic pricing too? Is it only dependent on the opponent, or is it if they don't sell, the tickets will fluctuate? Like,
Well,
are
it's
they sell
probably
too
both.
much, or they sell a lot, the tickets go
Well, I mean,
higher?
like when Mazatlan FC comes into town, the cheapest tickets $1,188.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't even know if they've sold real tickets for that, but you could tell all the Leagues Cups and stuff, all the Leagues Cup things, and when international teams come into town, the tickets are a lot higher.
Okay.
Like Club America's $78 to get in. And I went to the Club America Cholos game a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And that place was littered with Club America fans.
It's the most popular club in
Right.
Mexico,
So that game's going to be insanely expensive.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it'll be
And
it will
probably
be
really
mostly
sold
Club
out.
America
Right.
fans.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would remind everybody is like, and I just saw like someone make a comparison to Aztec football. Like the Aztecs welcome in New Mexico. The Aztecs welcome in Hawaii or Nevada, Reno or UNLV. This is international world football. We just saw Galaxy. LAFC is coming. Crew is coming. Timbers are coming. Like teams that are deeply, deeply established in American soccer. We're playing at the top of the field now.
But for a new market, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
like,
for a new
how the
market, I mean,
responds,
it's
right.
tough. It really is.
half the teams you named, Craig, like to me,
It's
aside
like
from,
whatever,
I'm
right?
like, well, what's the difference?
Right.
I mean, that could be the same thing as Hawaii to me or anybody else. Obviously, as a sports broadcaster, I'm a little bit more entwined with the MLS than other people. But some people that like are my friends sitting there going like, okay, cool. What about the Sounders? What's so cool about the Sounders? Right? I mean, who are the players on the Sounders that are getting my attention as opposed to obviously when Cal comes to town?
No, for sure.
Because you could say Club America, right? But that's like one of the top echelon teams in the world,
Right.
that you think of.
Right.
That would be if Oklahoma comes to town in a couple years to play
Right.
San Diego State. That's the same.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about the leagues, I mean, I don't know anything about the Vancouver Whitecaps
Sure.
when they come on July 19th.
Is Messi coming?
He's not.
He's not.
No, we wish. No, you play every team in your division or your conference, I should say. It's a 15-team conference. So you play every team in your conference home and away. So that's 28 matches right there.
Yeah.
So that leaves you 6.
Oh, of the other ones.
So you get 3 teams that you play, or pardon me, you get 6 games you play against the East, and it's just one off. So it's 3 that you go away, 3 that you go home, and 9 that you don't play at all. So unfortunately for SDFC, they missed the Messi draw this year. You would have thought MLS would have maybe tossed us an expansion team a bone and scheduled Inter Miami at San Diego Stadium. It would have been nice.
I bet the folks at SDFC think that would have been nice as well.
Yeah, well, if you want to talk about high ticket prices, they would have been the highest ever.
Yeah, but it probably would have been pretty sold out and
Right.
Pretty well attended. So I get that, but it's going to be interesting. And I see a comment in the chat that maybe the first game on Sunday was not a free game. So if that wasn't the case, I apologize.
Fair enough. But bottom line for this club, and I think, Braden, you just said something really important. For the soccer aficionados, SDFC doesn't have to work very hard to get them. Like a lot of them, even when the team has struggled with some public initiatives, soccer aficionados still back the club because they just want MLS, and it's like, even if we're not that satisfied with you, we still want MLS. But for the average casual, for the folks like, Brandon in our chat who's like, I don't even know or care about soccer. How am I going to get interested? It's a lot more. And that's one of the reasons, honestly, we've done like 13, 14 months of trying to bring some of this information to you, trying to give you the basic bones of understanding the league. But what Braden said is important. Like, why do I care if Timbers are in town? Why do I care if Real Salt Lake or Sporting KC is or New York Red Bulls is in town? What are these teams other than an anonymous thing to me? How can I differentiate that and say this is better than SDSU Hawaii? You know, part of that is education. And SDFC needs to work on the old media side as well as the new media side.
If I'm going to spend a couple
On that.
$100, you got to wow me in that first game, otherwise I'm never coming back. That's the reality they face.
It really is. It really is. Great call.
Got to put their best footy forward.
Avoided the foul on that play. Oh, no, you didn't. Never mind.
It's a foul.
Padres
So
next.
proud of myself.
Hour number 2 of the program, 11 a.m. in America's finest city. Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Halbrun, Craig Elsten, Braden Suprenant with you on 97.3 FM radio. Shout out to everybody listening to us on their radio. We are also a streamed program. You can hear us on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Free to download, free to use. Check it out. We are a podcast chopped up into our bite-sized morsels and served to you into your podcatcher each and every afternoon. If you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Spotify, you can leave us that 5-star review. Positive written review does help the show. Last but not least, we're a YouTube program. We are on video every single day on the 97.3 The Fan page on YouTube. Hello to everybody who is there. Don't forget to hit that like button. Let's get a 1-to-1 ratio of people in the chat and people smashing the like button. And we appreciate you. However, what?
He draws the foul.
It's on Annie.
Oh, good.
For the
Mama's
soccer.
first soccer joke. You'll all remember where you were.
She went
when
back
that
to the
happened.
foul. Gets fouled again.
I'm so proud of myself.
Yesterday, Craig was one foul away from fouling
I
out.
was.
Today,
I
Annie's
know.
got 2 quick ones.
I know. That was actually intriguing for me. It was like, what happens if I pick up number 5 in the
know.
last segment? Can I just go?
Do you get
You
like,
can't ask- you
yeah.
can't ask Craig
Is that
anything
really a
anymore.
punishment? Do you get locked out and you're like, oh, well, I guess I got to go.
You got to go do the editing. We have to do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Got to go
You got to
record.
go read ads just
Yeah.
100 times over and over
We're gonna need you to read the
Uh,
underdog liner.
yeah.
15 times in a row.
with all the what is that, like with all the
disclaimer.
disclaimers for every
Yes.
city in America.
We're gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna need you to come up with a new tune for the boyfriend in San Diego to send to his girlfriend in
Yes.
Tijuana.
Yes.
You have to
yeah.
rewrite
Mm.
the AT&T ads.
Please. I'd like to just know their next chapter. Like, I understand
They broke up.
you both met up,
Yeah, they
but
broke
please,
up that night.
AT&T, for the love of everything that is holy, please let us know their next chapter now.
They broke up that night.
Well, then make a commercial about that and play that. Stop playing this when we know what happened.
What are you doing here?
Guys, now with the Canadian,
Right.
you flip the other border too. Oh, it works up there
Hey,
too.
Works
huh?
up there too. Hey. Oh, I miss you in Vancouver. I
Yeah.
miss you in Seattle.
Flip it. Go to a new place.
Miss you in
Hey.
Seattle, eh? Oh my gosh. All right. It's the baseball.
But thanks for
hour.
advertising. With
Rolls
us.
up to the hockey
Yeah,
game.
AT&T.
No, absolutely.
What are you doing here?
We appreciate your
Hey,
Your support.
I sent you a tune. I
I sent you-
What's
What's wrong, babe? You haven't even touched your poutine yet. I sent you some Tim Hortons.
This may only be funny to us, but it's one
Canadian
of the funniest
jokes.
Things.
So great.
I'm laughing.
Canadian
Mm-mm-mm.
jokes are good.
Baseball time. It's time for your Padres deep dive hour here on Annie and Elsten. All right. Spring training report. Yesterday, Padres lost to the Cubs. Who cares?
The Padres win. It's huge. Big news.
Huge.
When they lose, it doesn't matter. Spring training.
Irrelevant.
Doesn't matter.
All spring training stats that are good are virtuous, real, and meaningful.
I think
All bad spring training stats are irrelevant. And why are you paying attention anyway?
somebody last night at softball was actually upset about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they played poorly last year.
Oh,
They got to
geez.
step it up. And
Yeah,
I was
look at
like,
that.
I'm sorry, dude. It's February 25th. I don't need to hear any Padre complaints on February 25th.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's good vibes in spring training.
It's February,
February 25th.
25th. I don't want to hear anything about how they performed in a game until at least March 27th.
I think that's reasonable. March
even-
27th would be probably the first day.
And even then, it'd be like, well, it's one game. Game one.
What is this? AJ's back at it with another KBO player.
He signed Wes
Benjamin.
Benjamin, yeah, who was
Okay.
a KBO player and had a year or two in the big leagues, then went to the KBO for I think like 3 years, and then came back and is kind of on that same track as Kyle, good old Kyle Hart.
Yeah.
But not, I think, the level that Kyle is yet. However, I did see that he wants to be considered a starter. Like part of the reason he signed with the Padres was not for a roll out of the bullpen, but for a chance to be a starter. So, you know, another one to throw in there to compete with the rest of them.
Okay.
And he started a uprising in the chat. with the
Well,
commercial.
No,
It's
that
true.
is true.
Everybody turns the radio off for that
we all
1
know
minute.
it's true. I turn it down. We all know it's true. Okay.
We mute the speaker in here. For
I
a
think
minute.
someone should just like screenshot the chat and
It's-
send this to the GSM.
It's been
Hey,
like
we gotta-
years.
we gotta
It's
mix
been
it
like
up.
years. I know we can make a new one. Like
It's been at least a year for sure.
yeah.
And we can't mute it as much because Craig sometimes has underdog reads right after it.
Mhm.
Like every time.
We
It
have to
always goes
listen
right
to it.
after it.
I'm gonna have to
Every single
rearrange.
time.
I'm gonna have to rearrange the commercial breaks for some of
What are you
those.
doing here? Anyways.
Also, a nice little note. We talked about Oscar Gonzalez yesterday, and this is in
Yes.
the Union Tribune today. Duh, Victor Rodriguez was with him with the Guardians and said, quote, "We could not get him out of the lineup." Recalling the 2022 season when they were both with the Guardians, he played every day and he carried us through in the playoffs. Then he became a bit of a hitter who strikes out a lot, doesn't walk very much. And now obviously trying to get back to who he was. But those are some high marks from Victor Gonzalez, who obviously sees the potential in him and knows what it was when he was with the Guardians. And I'm sure lobbied for him to have a chance with the Padres.
Yeah, good quote here from Rodriguez. Says, quote, "I believe if this kid learns how to control the strike zone, he can hit. That's what we're really trying to do with him. Make sure that he understands the importance of controlling the strike zone and using the field. I think with us, it's going to be good because we focus a lot on line drives, staying in the big part of the field. That's going to help him a lot."
And how many times have we heard that about some of these hitters? Like once they get into that identity of like, don't need to be the hero, don't need to always drive the ball out of the field, gap to gap, line drive hitter, I think it relaxes them in some sense. Okay, I can do that. I used to do that. Let's get back to that now.
Here's something I was just thinking about the other day. And when we get to Terso Ornelas, it's kind of in the same vein. But when we talk about signing lottery tickets, right, which is what we described most of the Padres' recent free agent activity, other than Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta is a proven guy, got a major big league deal, took the team over the apron, the whole 9 yards. But Diaz, Hayward, Joe, Marinaccio, Hart, right? These guys are lottery tickets. And one thing that's really important when you buy a bunch of scratchers is not getting precious about any one of them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, hang on. We signed Connor Joe to a 1-year, $1 million deal. He's a Poway kid. We cannot possibly. He's got to have the starting. If Oscar Gonzalez is better, Oscar Gonzalez should play. They're of equal footing to me. Every one of these guys, Terso, Gonzalez, they're all on equal footing to me.
Absolutely. And I mean, Connor Joe and Jason Hayward, I think maybe are going to get a little bit more leash because of their histories and because they've gotten the 1 million. But even if they don't produce, I mean, we've seen it happen many seasons in the past. Like they will be let go. It's just a matter of who's going to be able to give them more production if the Padres aren't spending more money to get a different kind of player. You know, I think the lottery tickets, I agree with you 1,000% on that. Like you're not precious with the lottery tickets, but I also know if I go to the mall and I buy myself a really nice jacket, I have the jacket in my closet versus if I go buy 5 lottery tickets, the chances of any of them hitting could be zero.
Right.
I might get $2 from one, might get also, 50 from another, but I might get nothing from any of them. So there's good and there's bad. You want to hope that those lottery tickets at least pan out maybe half the time.
Yeah. And, Go Aztecs just brought up Matt Carpenter. That's kind of my point.
But he was $6 million.
He was. No, he was.
Yeah,
No,
they were going
right.
to let him go.
You're right. That was
That was
more
AJ
of
Preller paying $6 million for him.
Yeah, that was a hatchback car, not a
Yeah.
lottery ticket,
Yeah.
right? So if Oscar Gonzalez, that's just my whole point. If Oscar Gonzalez outperforms Connor Joe, Oscar Gonzalez should play over Connor Joe. If Terso Ornelas outplays Jason Hayward,
I agree.
Terso Ornelas should play over Jason Hayward.
I agree. And I see comments in the chat. Hey, out with the old guys, bring in these young guys who are ready. Or they say already, Aggie Rosario, Terso Ornelas. I think that's how you have to look at it. If you're the Padres, you have to go with whoever's the hot hand.
Well, speaking of Aggie Rosario, yesterday, he is the hot hand. He is a player who has come into Padres camp knowing he has to make the team. If he doesn't make the team, then the Padres have to offer him to all the rest of the teams. They have to basically trade him or let him go. They don't want to do either one of those things. So he has started at second. He has started at third. And yesterday he started in left field. And he hit a 2-run homer off of a right-handed pitcher, Ben Brown. Afterwards, got a chance to chat with the local media, including, of course, our spring training, Sammy Levitt. Let's hear what Eggy had to say about his spring so far through interpreter Danny Sanchez.
How are you feeling at the plate? And I guess going the opposite field must mean you're feeling pretty good. Like, how are you feeling at the plate?
Oh, me siento súper cómodo, gracias a Dios, me siento súper cómodo y creo que tengo buenos compañeros que me motivan también, ¿sabes? Me motivan a dar lo mejor de mí en el terreno y eso es lo que tengo que dar.
Yeah, I feel super comfortable in the box. I'm very lucky to where I have a lot of really good teammates too, that they motivate me, they encourage me. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling comfortable.
Eggy, does it mean anything to you that your 3 hits have come against right-handers? You have killed lefties in your career so far, but have you been working on that? What does it mean to you?
Yo aprendí mucho. Yo jugué invernal en Dominicana y aprendí mucho, batí mucho derecho. Creo que eso me ayudó bastante y nada, seguí el plan. Uno nunca sabe lo que puede pasar.
I've learned a lot. I spent a lot of time in the winter in the Dominican League, hitting against right-handers. So I think I've learned a lot. And I'm looking to get better.
What is your view of your competition for a spot, and kind of how do you go about winning that, and how do you focus on that?
En mi cabeza yo no tengo competición, ¿sabes? Yo salgo a dar lo mejor de mí afuera, independientemente de lo que pase. Creo que mi competición soy yo mismo. Superar mi límite y tratar de ser mejor pelotero y punto.
Yeah, I think for me, the competition is within myself, right? Like in my head, I'm just going out there and trying to give my all, being the best that I can be whenever I hit the field. So I think for me, that's the main kind of focus. The main thing that I'm trying to achieve is just be better within myself.
Really good stuff. I was listening to Eggy's answers in Spanish there. I mean, he's being very direct, and one of the things he said is, we're going to see what happens, but vimos que lo que pasar. But he's saying, been working on I know what I need to work on. I know what my book is, and I've been working hard on changing those things. Let's hear the second clip, because he talks about playing in left field and what it means to him to be a career infielder. Played 8 games last year, all year in right field. And now he's getting a look in left field. Let's hear what he had to say about that. Which is the second. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, it's just
this dumb machine. I get it.
Going in left field, it looked good out there today. How is it just generally going, learning left field and playing there more?
Feel a little weird, but we've been practicing there, and I think everything's gonna go in fine.
What is your mindset in terms of, you're going to be playing some left field, but you're also playing pretty much everywhere. How do you kind of maintain all of it?
No, yo estoy tratando de dividir el trabajo. Tratar de ser mejor en lo que tengan que mejorar, ¿sabes? Si tengo 20 minutos en la defensa, tratar de enfocarme esos 20 minutos y dar lo mejor de mí.
Yeah, I'm trying to divide my time, depending on wherever they need me. I'm dividing my time up equally. If I have 20 minutes on defense, I'm going to spread that out and get better in every area.
Was it good to get out there, and what are you learning about left field?
Se siente cómodo, ¿sabes? Fue muy divertido salir ahí, pero me gusta cómo se ve el terreno, ¿sabes? Uno tiene la visualización de todo el terreno y me encanta eso, se ve súper chulo.
Yeah, I feel comfortable out there. It's fun. I like the view from out there. I like looking at the view of the entire field. It's a beautiful view.
You are a natural infielder. When guys move out there, they talk about concentration sometimes. How are you focusing every pitch in the outfield?
Creo que ese es el punto exacto, el punto clave, ¿sabes? Tratar de enfocarse picheo tras picheo, una posición diferente, creo que debería dar mi mejor enfoque ahí y eso es lo que traté.
I think that's the exact key, right? Is to just maintain that focus each and every pitch. So that's what I'm focused on, maintaining that focus. Every single pitch, just maintaining that focus.
All right. Really liking what I'm hearing from Eggy Rosario, Annie.
Yeah, really good opportunity for him. I see the question in the chat. Isn't Eggy the longest tenured Padres player? Yes, he is. It used to be Will Myers. It was Steven Wilson for a time, I believe, or Adrian Marjon, actually. But Eggy Rosario is the guy who's been with the organization the longest. And really cool to hear. He went down in the Dominican Republic, really worked on that right-handed hitting. Good to see that that's improved. I mean, you never know over the course of a season. It's early in spring training, but at least for now, it seems like it's improved and he's feeling better about it. So we'll see how it goes. And then that's a big deal. He's played 8 games, was it? In 9 games in the outfield. So he came into spring having played 9 games in the outfield, all in right and all last season at AAA El Paso, spent the Dominican Republic time playing second and third base. So he's going to go out there and try to learn that position and try to get good at that position.
He offers a lot of versatility to the San Diego Padres. And while I know I've been that person that banged the drum for Jose Iglesias for a while. And listen, if they signed him today, I'd go crazy. I'd be excited. It would come at Eggy Rosario's expense, and I do recognize that. But the fact that they are playing him in the outfield shows you that they recognize the athlete, the ball player, is somebody who can contribute to this club. And he's not just somebody to be pigeonholed into, well, he's a AAA second baseman.
Yeah. And I mean, if you even, reading again, this UT story, veteran Jason Hayward, a left-handed hitter, is being given first shot at the majority of playing time in left field. Connor Joe and left-handed hitting Terso Arnelis are also potential candidates to get time there. So you've got to, again, I think they're high on Eggy. I think that they want Eggy on this team, and they're going to try to find places for him to play and get him comfortable. And as long as he does his part and he's able to hit pretty consistently, I think he's got to give himself that opportunity. But if he gets some regular playing time, then maybe he's able to do that. And that's just kind of the thing that he needs. But look, that's the thing, right? Like, you're kind of looking at Jason Hayward, you give him that respect of like veteran guy coming in, that's the position that he's going to want. And now it's upon these other guys to sort of fight to get more playing time or essentially take some of those spots away from other people.
When we come back, we're going to hear from Kyle Hart, who is fighting for that fifth starter's job. He throws on the backfields today, not in the Cactus League. Stephen Kolek will start for the Padres inside the Peoria Sports Complex coming up at 12 o'clock. You will hear from Kyle Hart, plus maybe the worst review now in the very brief ABS spring training history.
Oh,
it just happened with Max Scherzer. I think this is the proof of why you don't let the pitchers challenge. And we're going to show you that when we come back as well. It's Annie and Elsten. It's your Padres Deep Dive Hour, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Listen to Inside San Diego Baseball with Sam Levitt, Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m., right here on 97.3 The Fan and on our YouTube page where Sam chats all things Padres baseball, keeps you up to date on all the latest rumors, presents his work from spring training. Check it out. Wednesday night get-together with Sam Levitt, Inside San Diego Baseball, 7 to 9 p.m. All right, we got lineup for today. Are you curious?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Of course.
Curiosity will be resolved positively in your favor right now. Here it comes.
Can't wait.
Well, you had to wait just that much longer.
Yeah.
Luis Ariz leads off at first
Okay.
base. Tyler Wade is at shortstop.
Awesome.
T. Wade locked in. Manny Machado starting back-to-back games, this time at DH, though. Very early season last year
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing, shuttling.
It's kind of
But
like a half game, and he obviously won't play the whole game.
yeah, he'll get 2 at-bats.
Yeah.
Tea time in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Hayward cleaning up in left field. There's our man, Eggy. Rosario batting 5th at second base.
Okay.
Brandon Lockridge is the center fielder, hitting 6th. Martin Maldonado is hitting 7th at catcher. Terso Ornelas is wondering why he's not hitting 7th. He's in right field batting 8th. And Mason McCoy is the third baseman today.
Hey, Mason's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Stephen Kolek on the mound for San Diego.
Yes. Read a story from Jeff Standers about Stephen Kolek and the ways he was kind of trying to attack things from the bullpen last year, and now the ability to kind of show some of his other pitches and have a chance to compete for this spot in the rotation and just kind of relax a little. I mean, last year was really a blur to him all the way around. I think the lows were really low for him because that is hard. You know, you come over and you're in a team that's competing and you know that they can't let go of you. But if you don't perform, like it weighs on you pretty hard, you know? So it got traded for $1 from the Mariners. Don't you think you'd have a chip on your shoulder? I know that stuff happens and it's like doesn't mean that Stephen Kolek is bad or isn't worth anything, but that's just sometimes like the way that they do it. They trade you for $1. I mean, that's just
I'll buy that for $1.
yeah, that's just like I feel like that gives you an inherent chip on your shoulder. That is a good thing.
Traded for $1.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than a bag of balls, I guess.
I guess.
Use
Right.
treadmill.
You know
It
what?
was,
They used the Mariners. Gave that $1. That $1 might have been the difference in getting Ohtani. Maybe it was that extra $1 that they could give.
The Mariners acquired him for $1. He was drafted in the 11th round as a starting pitcher out of Texas A&M in 2018 by the Dodgers. Was still starting when the Mariners acquired him for $1. That's great.
Add 50 cents to that, you can get a hot dog and a refill
Mhm.
of your drink.
Yep.
Thank you, Costco.
Yeah. Thank you.
Keeping
Costco.
prices low.
Right. You can't just go buy it anymore though. You got to show your membership card.
Yeah,
Like,
you
you got
gotta
to do the whole
scan.
thing.
Yeah, you do have to
scan.
scan.
Yeah.
You
do
don't
have to
order at
scan.
the
Yeah.
thing anymore.
No,
I didn't
no.
realize that the last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You had to go through a little order on a little
Yeah, little
machine.
kiosk. You got to
Mhm.
do the kiosk
Mhm.
and get the scanner. That
Weird.
chocolate chip cookie is bomb, by
The
the way.
I
chicken
haven't ever
bake.
had that chocolate chip cookie, but I'm
It's
sure it's delicious.
probably-
Oh, I have. It's
Yeah,
delicious.
It's amazing. It's probably like 1,500 calories itself.
Oh,
yeah,
Like
if
yeah.
the chicken bake
Is it
was
like the size of your head? Like, Okay.
but it's thick.
is it warm?
Yes.
Okay.
It's warm. It's thick. It's got both
Warm and thick.
semi-sweet and milk
Oh, wow.
chocolate.
That's a
So,
nice combo. Brayden, I've
yeah.
never had the chicken bake.
the
either,
chicken
so-
bake is so good. If the chicken bake wasn't probably 1,000 calories and artery clogging, I'd probably get those almost every time that I go get gas.
Mm,
It's delicious.
mm.
But I forget what I think it's like Alfredo sauce or something.
Yeah,
sometimes it's got, like,
so
bacon in
good.
there
It's
and-
oh
That's
my
probably
god,
good.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I every time I get scared off by the calorie count. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, that's like
I see it
Yeah.
because it's up there. It's like 800 something or whatever, and I'm like,
Don't sleep on that like fruit smoothie they have either. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
like all sugar and like hardly any fruit.
Yeah.
But that thing's good too.
chicken bake is chopped chicken breast, bacon, mozzarella, and parm cheese, creamy Caesar salad dressing,
whoa.
all wrapped in a pizza dough crust. Yeah, it's
Daniel says
delicious.
calories don't count at Costco. Does that also when you like go buy the big bulk, candy thing? Does it not count either there in the store?
Well, as you know,
Do
my
the
rule is
samples
if
count?
it's small, if it's bite sized, the
Yeah.
calories don't count. But nothing at
Doesn't
Costco
count.
is bite sized. Everything is
Right.
double sized. So
It's so good. That's like you have that once every 2 years. Just like, you know what? I haven't had chicken bake in 2 years. I think my body can flush this out in the next 6 weeks.
Like the human behavior, and I'm guilty of it too, so I'm not counting myself out, but the human behavior studies that could go on with samples at Costco,
Mm.
it is something else. Like people lurking and waiting and then like trying to
People
come back
watching.
around. Yeah, like
People watching is absurd at Costco samples. Guy comes back for like 5 of them.
yeah. It's trying to like show up a little different every time,
I
I like to
Guy's
spend
trying to get a meal out of it.
Right.
I like to spend a solid afternoon at various Costco's around San Diego County just looking for Brian Hoeing. I just go in and I'm just like,
We asked him
go
about
straight
that.
to the rotisserie chicken area. I'm like, all right,
That might be why his shoulder is barking.
maybe.
Too much rotisserie chicken.
He keeps trying to lug the
shucking.
brisket on his shoulder.
Yeah.
We're in the meat section. You guys
I'm
buying too
sorry,
much meat
Brian.
out there.
The
I'm
last
sorry
3
I did
minutes
that
of
to
this
you.
show are complete nonsense.
We need Sam to ask him about Costco
Sam's no.
on a one-on-one. That the spring training's the best time. It's better now than
Yeah.
in the middle of the
But
season.
Sam's like, don't put your garbage on me, to ask this.
I mean, it's such a routine. Hey, so Brian, do you like Costco? I mean, that's all you have to say. I mean,
Yeah.
he won't know any better. I mean, it seems like a reasonable
Tell him
icebreaking question.
we should play him the quote. We should play him the ad and see
Yeah.
what he says. and
What's
then-
what's your favorite thing to get at Costco? What's your, what can you not walk out of Costco
Yeah.
without getting?
and then he can
It's a
break
great
our hearts
question.
and say he goes to Sam's Club.
Right. He's never even been to
Oh, yeah, I've
Costco.
never been to Costco.
What
Yeah.
is Costco?
Never meet your heroes.
Oh.
That's what I would say at that point.
Last night at In-N-Out, the guy in front of me had never been before. He was like 49 years old, and he was like asking about everything.
Just wide eyed
I was sitting there going, "What are we? What is going on here?"
kid at Disneyland.
Never had
Never
been
seen all
to
this
In-N-Out.
tile. Wow, this tile's so beautiful.
He was trying to ask the lady working the counter what he should get. What should I get at
what do you
In-N-Out?
recommend?
What do you recommend?
The burgers are good here.
The menu's
a
only got 5
milkshake.
items on it.
Right.
What
I
are you
like the
what are
burger
you
and the
Fries and a
fries.
what are you
milkshake?
debating right now? 1 patty or 2?
It's not like the
Cheese,
prices are
no
going to drive you
cheese?
away from trying one of each category.
Yeah, what are you asking
recommend?
about? There's nothing on the there's not there it was like a full-on conversation.
I
Like,
want this guy to call in now.
where are you from? From Seattle, whatever.
I just wish I wish I could teleport myself into that conversation.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
with
my
a
God.
smile on my
He's probably
face.
only ever heard of
Right.
In-N-Out and like
Just
he's
as
never
I look
tried
at him with a
it.
big smile and go, I
Right.
recommend the burger here.
That's literally what she said. She was like, I
kind of
recommend
it's
I
kind of
kind of
adorable.
recommend getting a burger. You should probably do that.
It's kind of adorable.
Well, what's in the spread?
Just,
Well, I can't really tell you that, but
It's
Secret.
a secret.
it's a secret.
It's
That
a
was
secret
Alan
goodness, dummy.
But
Mm.
yeah, it was like 5, 6, 7 minutes. It was just sitting there going like,
amazing.
oh wow.
Let's do this before we get out. Dropped it as the third link there in 11:15. We'll get to Kyle Hart on the other side. But I just want to show you this from today. Grapefruit League action. The newest Toronto Blue Jay is Max Scherzer. And
Just getting paid by half of Major League Baseball to pitch this year.
yeah,
Mhm.
he let the smooth taste fool
Must
him
be
here
Yeah, must be
as
nice, exactly.
as his catcher Alejandro Kirk expertly framed a pitch. This
Nice
is
job,
why
Alejandro.
you don't let the pitchers ever challenge,
Too much emotion.
especially an idiot like Scherzer, who's so wrapped up. Here we go for everyone in the radio audience.
Idiot.
He's
like
not an
Scherzer.
idiot. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he's still
Like,
dropping the idiot.
he's
thing.
so
Wow, what a
fired up.
moron this
Real
guy
good
is.
pitcher who's had a really good career.
He's a Hall of Fame
Guy's
pitcher.
getting
Yes.
But he's
$45
so
million
fired up.
from 3
Come on.
different teams
Blue
right now,
eye
and
and a
Craig's like,
brown
"What
eye.
an idiot!"
This guy is so fired up with the man. You know he's a dope. Come on.
Nationals are paying him $15 million. Dodgers
Okay.
are paying him $15
Throw
million.
the pitch.
Blue Jays.
7th
Idiot.
overall pick
What?
last year out of West
So-
Virginia University.
Oh wait. Oh,
Oh.
that was definitely not a strike.
Look how low
Yeah.
it is.
He like literally
You can
picks it
see
up
that
from
ball is
the bottom of
considerably
the,
low.
almost like near the
7th overall
dirt,
pick
and
last year out of West Virginia University.
it was framed really well.
This is the conversation that we had a couple of days
Oh,
ago.
Max,
We-
you gotta
like,
not call those. It's the blue eye and the brown eye. You can't see well,
wow, shots fired at
No,
Max.
I like Max. Max is a Hall of Fame
He's
pitcher.
a Hall of
and-
Fame pitcher. He's outstanding.
We talked about this. I mean, all it
Yeah.
takes is just ego level veteran
Yeah.
right.
that's just gonna burn all your challenges early in the contest, and it's like, oh, That guy totally missed outside. It would be ball 4 and walk on a run. They called strike 3.
Yeah.
Wish we had a challenge.
And I believe that is why the Padres have like explicitly said
Yeah.
the pitcher will not call.
Pitcher
the
can't
pitcher
do it.
won't do it. And then there was that story. I think a few people had it over the weekend of Sullivan getting like 10 out of 11 right in a game, like call
Yeah.
like 10 out of 11 challenges right in a game. Like I would love to meet the umpire. I want to ask like what was that conversation like? Because the umpire at some point is like just getting irritated, but
Yeah.
he keeps getting but then
You're wrong again, pal.
Sullivan keeps getting
Oops,
it right.
sorry, you're wrong again, pal.
As we
Oops,
mentioned,
sorry.
10 out of 11, man. That's got to wear on you a little
all
bit.
of a sudden the umpire's getting rattled back there.
Right.
He's having a rough
now
day.
you don't trust your stuff a little
and
bit, right?
the
Yeah.
villagers getting restless in the stands, getting upset.
What was that?
I do like that new rule though. Don't let the pitchers. It's a good rule by the
But
Padres.
some teams apparently haven't instituted that, right? But the Padres have said,
Or
like,
Max
that's
just
what we're
doesn't
doing.
care.
Or Max
Yeah.
just doesn't care, right?
Well, yeah, Max might have
Yeah.
been told explicitly,
Yeah.
challenge. He's like,
Sue
screw
me.
you.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna do? It's spring
I've been
training.
waiting all off season to touch my head like that.
Yeah.
All right.
3,000 strikeouts. I want another one. All right, come
Adrian
on.
Belcher would never challenge.
I saw another team. I cannot
Don't touch his
remember
head.
who the team was, but the
Tell somebody
manager
else
was
to challenge
like,
for him.
they're not even using it because they're like, it's not coming into effect
Oh,
this
the
season.
Reds, yeah.
Why, the Reds. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, why are we going to waste our time dealing with this? Which I get and I don't get because it's like, okay, but it's probably going to be here next
Get
year.
ahead of the curve.
But I also understand, like, we don't want to waste any of our energy, but okay, Reds, like, how much energy are you going to waste?
Seriously,
Yeah,
like,
right.
is that really going to affect an April 15th at
Right,
bat?
probably
Like,
not.
Well,
oh,
it's
I
gonna
was
be
thinking about when
great.
I replayed
But
the
they're
thing
not
in
using it at
March.
all. Yeah.
It's going to be great in the regular season when guys are just going to do this just to be annoying.
And
Just to
they're
be
going to
annoying.
forget.
The ump just laughs.
You
Well,
know?
it's just going to be like it's like I see it in college baseball all the time because not all the leagues have replay. Only some of them do. And so last year there'd be teams because the West Coast Conference didn't have it. They finally have it now. Teams would have bang bang plays, and the
Yeah.
Power 5 teams would be like, "Oh, check it." And be like,
Right.
"Can't check it here, buddy."
But I think Braden, I really think that like after a full spring training of doing that, especially for the teams that have been doing it as consistently as like the Padres and some other teams have, I bet it will be kind of like you'll see a guy like go to touch a catcher go to touch his head or something, but then he'll stop himself.
He'd
you
probably
know?
get ejected immediately.
Yeah.
Just send him.
But that-
I'd check that.
Yeah. Or
You're
he'll-
lucky I
or
can't
he'll
check
realize
it.
it on the way up. He'll
Yeah.
like, no, I can't do that.
You're lucky
Yeah.
I can't check it. Now in college basketball, they'll do this all the time.
Yeah.
For this is like the new
Yeah.
we're gonna review it.
Yeah.
There's like, "Oh, review it.
When we come
Yeah.
back, Kyle Hart and Terso Ornelas. You'll hear both of those sound bites from the Padres locker room. We continue with the Padres Deep Dive Hour, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Andy and Elsten here with you. Let's get to Kyle Hart, who's throwing on the backfield today for the San Diego Padres. What does that mean? It means we'll probably get a video or two from Sammy. We'll get some oblique reporting around it, but you're not going to get the box score on ESPN.com of a backfield outing.
Nor should you.
No.
Nor should you care. All right.
That should be the guy to input that. What are we rolling that, Skip?
That was a WW. Wasn't watching. Sorry. Famously, by the way, Phil Rizzuto would have that as a multiple-time entry in his scorebook for the New York Yankees. Yeah, WW. And someone asked, what's WW? He says, wasn't watching.
That's actually a very key thing. That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was sitting next to the I shouldn't say this. There's
Please do, though.
someone who worked, maybe used to work in the Padres upstairs department or whatever. And you know how they're like, now the 2 words that you'd love to hear. And he's like, it's play ball. But this guy would always mutter game over.
I might know who that is.
The WW is great. I'm going to put that into my scorecard now.
Wasn't
Yeah.
watching.
Wasn't watching.
Wasn't watching. So sorry. WW. Is that a BB? No, that's a WW.
No, WW.
Is that a walk?
DNC.
No, wasn't.
That's like if you're like the very end of the season and you're not making the playoffs and you're at like DNC. Do not care.
Do not care. Whatever happened, doesn't matter.
Do not care. DNQ does not qualify.
Does not qualify. Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. All right. So Kyle Hart's tossing today. He chatted with some of the reporters over the weekend at Peoria Sports Complex. If you don't remember or you missed it a couple of weeks ago, Kyle Hart, a pitcher who you wouldn't know, like unless you were a diehard Red Sox fan, you would have no idea who Kyle Hart is because he showed up for like 4 games in the COVID season for Boston and he got trucked in those 4 games. And since then, he's just been a AAA dude bouncing around AAA rotations. Then he went to Korea for a year, lowered his arm slot. All of a sudden, things clicked in for him.
That's a ride or die guy, too.
Yeah. He won the Korean Cy Young Award. Then the Padres signed him to a deal that'll pay him $1 million if he's in the big leagues this year.
Yeah, he's very passionate. There was a clip going around how he will yell at the other dugout, or he did, and the KBO. Was he yelling at the other dugout? He was yelling at
He's
someone.
at the other pitcher.
He was yelling at the other pitcher.
He was ready to fight that guy.
So, might not translate. The KBO is a little different. Who knows? But a passionate guy.
We could have,
Yes.
you know what? Seeing this guy last year in the NLDS wreak some havoc.
Him and Flaherty, maybe toe to toe.
I think he would have taken down. I think he would have took on the pavilion. Actually, matter of fact,
I
he
like
seems right. I'd like the ride or die. Or dropping the Wii all of the first day on the job.
Yeah, he was.
He had all the Padres history down.
Well,
Well, I see some fireworks out of this guy this year.
We got a couple of clips here from Kyle Hart. Here's clip number 1. Let's hear what he has
Over
to say.
the last handful of years, a lot of guys have come here and really raved about working with Ruben Niebla, working with Ben Fritz. So far, I know it's early, I know it's been a week or so, but what has your experience been like with Ruben and his guys?
Yeah, that was one of the things that set me over the edge in a good way. Like when I was kind of looking around in free agency, like as soon as I heard these guys were interested in me, did a little bit of digging, and I was like, yeah, this is a great landing spot. A lot of success with guys that have had a similar journey as me. And then, a ton of successful pitchers under these guys. So, it's been good already. They've given me some things to work on. They've also given me some strengths of mine that they want me to lean into. Everybody's like really in tune with each other. If you talk to Ruben, you talk to Chris, you talk to Peter, it's like everybody is on the same page with you as a pitcher. And I think that's a big deal. You're not getting different messages from different areas. So I'm really excited to just keep going with these guys.
You mentioned the sweeper being something you introduced when you were in Korea, but you also talked the other day about lowering your arm slot, more of an athletic position. How do you feel like that affected hitters maybe in a different way, lowering that slot?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, I think it's somewhat uncomfortable for the lefties. I need a little bit more feedback as we go this spring. what that looks like from a right-handed perspective. I think I'm facing Yuli today, so maybe I'll pick his brain a little bit on what kind of tunnels he thinks would be effective for me. But I have some pitches that I'm really confident in the right-handed hitter. As long as I play this game, I'll be confident in my changeup. I'm going to pitch inside, right? And I need to continue to use the sweeper to both sides of the plate. So I think there's some good things, but I think there's also some things that I need to strengthen up to be successful at this level.
Very good.
Interesting stuff from Kyle Hart. We've had Rafi Cantor and John Percoto on, the guys from Pods Above Replacement previously, Annie, and they did a show last week going through the metrics of Nick Pivetta and Kyle Hart. And one thing that they brought up that's very interesting is, but not a great point in Kyle Hart's favor, is that his fastball is 91, 92 miles an hour.
Sits on the lower end. Right?
So if you look at, and they did, all the fastballs thrown at that velocity last year in baseball, the weighted on base average against that was 366, equivalent to Jurickson Profar. So like all the hitters in baseball facing the fastball that Kyle Hart throws hit like Profar did last year.
Interesting.
Yeah, like an all-star.
Yeah, so I think this is where you kind of, you listen to him talk about Ruben Niebla and trying to find the best plan for him, the best way for him to improve and to go out there and to get hitters out. Again, this is like a lottery ticket, like you talked about before. It could work out really well for the Padres. It could work out really well for the Padres for a few months that they need him. And then maybe there's another person, or maybe he's great all year. Who knows? But the KBO is, as we know, different than the major leagues.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it, that the hitters are different and the speed is way higher. And so I think you just got to kind of let him go out there and see what he's got and hopefully try to work with Ruben Niebla and get the best out of him.
Yeah. And, it doesn't mean if you throw a not great major league fastball that you can't be successful.
For sure. We see that with other pitchers. They are successful.
Yeah.
Right?
But what it means is, and he talked about it, you have to have impeccable tunneling.
Yep.
You have to have another pitch that is playing off of that fastball that's coming out of the same arm slot, dropping a different place.
It makes it that much harder. Yeah. Your room for error when you can't blow a fastball by someone is a lot less.
Right. Compare that to Robert Suarez, who essentially, for not all the time, because he started mixing in the changeup in the last month or so, but for about 4.5 months, there was no pitching. It was throwing. It was, I'm going to throw as hard as I can. I'm going to hit spots. And my 101 is going to be enough. And then when it was 101, it was enough. And when it was 98, it started going over the fence. So when it's 91, you really understand what the difference is in terms of what you have to do.
And when you're getting fastball, and he doesn't hit a spot, the hitter's ready for it. There was a time for Robert Suarez when he just wasn't hitting his spots either. It was kind of sending it more down the middle. So, pros and cons to it all. But Kyle Hart is trying to be is Kyle Hart trying to be a starter? Is that
yeah?
Okay, no, Kyle Hart's got to show some other pitches, right?
Let's hear it. We got a second clip from Kyle Hart. Here's what he's got to say.
Last season in the KBO, obviously you put together a tremendous campaign. When you reflect on what you did, what do you feel like the biggest key to success for you was in the KBO?
Yeah, I think the ABS was something, while controversial, I think for me, looking back, it was very helpful. Just allowed me to, there was no guessing, right? You're either in the zone or you weren't. And so for me, just having the confidence to pitch in the zone was a big deal. So obviously we're going to be trying that out this spring in the Cactus League. And I think it could ultimately be in the big leagues here shortly. So I think the ABS, while controversial, was very beneficial for my mindset and just how I pitched. And then the sweeper, I was actually shown the sweeper in Tacoma 2 years ago by Tommy Malone, outstanding lefty. He showed me it. I couldn't quite figure it out then. And then just worked on it a lot last year with some of my KBO coaches with the NC Dinos. And it kind of clicked like last March.
The numbers obviously were terrific in the KBO. Now you take that, what you did, what you worked on in the KBO, and you now try to apply it in the Cactus League and against major league hitters. How do you anticipate that transition will go, taking what you worked on and now bringing it to the Major League Baseball side of things?
Yeah, I think you always have to take anybody's stats in a different league, whether it be Mexico, Korea, Japan, wherever. You got to take it with a grain of salt, right? Because this is the best league in the world, and so I'm confident that the transition will go well. But I'm also I'm going to lean into my catchers. I'm going to lean into this pitching department, guys that have done it here for a really long time. And I'm just going to follow their lead a bit, and we'll tinker if we need to. Other than that, I'm just going to attack and see where we're at. So I think it's kind of a black and white situation for me. Like you show up and you do what you do and try to learn from the best and see where that takes you.
Yeah, this was something that when they signed them, Kyle Hart and Nick Pivetta, that this was the identity of the Padres pitching staff, especially the rotation, well, the whole staff, I guess. But you're going to be aggressive. You're going to throw your best stuff. You're going to throw, you're not going to just try to paint the edges and try to finesse it the whole time. Like you're going to challenge the hitter with your best stuff and have some trust in hitting your spots, So that this is kind of the challenge for him now.
It truly is. And the bigger challenge for Kyle Hart is that he isn't promised anything. I mean, he's been given a big league deal. So that's something. That $1 million is going to be in his account, whether he's in El Paso or not.
Mm-hmm.
But Vasquez pitched yesterday. Waldron pitched Saturday. Kolek pitches today. Berger goes tomorrow. On the backfield, you got Kyle Hart. Pavetta's coming in. Brito will be along, and has been throwing. All of these guys are going for one spot. They're all going for one spot. So if Matt Waldron wins the spot, it doesn't matter what Kyle Hart does. He's going to go to AAA. And if Kyle Hart wins a spot, it doesn't matter what Matt Waldron and Randy Vasquez do. They're going to go down to AAA. So it is a zero-sum game. And as we meet all these guys, your heart kind of like I'm pulling for Kyle Hart.
Well, and they all might come up throughout the course of a season.
Yes.
I mean, someone might start the season at that 5th spot and then for injury or production wise or whatever, lose the job. And up comes the next person, right?
Oh, it's almost a guarantee.
Yeah.
It is a guarantee.
But yeah, you do. That's part of I think that's probably the best part of spring training is, the people who are fighting for an opportunity really, really hard. And you do start pulling for some of these guys to be able to show that they can do it.
I think we're out of time for this segment to get to Turso, but we'll get to Turso as the show continues forward too, because he's right there. I mean, he's been in the organization for 9 seasons.
And hasn't made his major league debut yet.
Not yet.
What is the plan, right? Like if you're not gonna, or when do you plan to use them, or do you plan to trade them, or I don't know.
It's just so difficult because, you have these ideas as an organization. Well, he could be this.
Yeah.
Well, he could be that. But for the player's just dying for the opportunity to show what he can be. He's got his own idea of what his career can be. That's a lot more than you probably imagine when you're like, oh, well, he might be a 4th outfielder someday, maybe, and he's just dying to get the chance.
Oh, yeah.
To show you what he can do. He's actually, of all the guys, for some weird reason, he's the one that is on the top of my root for list, just because he's been completely overshadowed. Even last year, I remember in August, he was added to the 40-man, and we were like, oh, Tirso Ornelas is going to get called up. Like some Spanish language reporter was like, Tirso Ornelas is on his way. And we were actually excited about it. Like, finally, we've heard about this kid from low A to high A to, all the way up every single rung of the ladder. And then he never got called up. And you're like, well, what was that about? I don't know. Well, here's a chance. He's in the lineup again today. I would have loved to seen them bat 7th in front of Martin Maldonado instead of behind him. I'm afraid he's going to come up with nobody on, nobody out after Maldonado makes the last out of the inning. But nonetheless, guys like that who literally have to fight not only through competition, but they have to fight through their scouting report. You know what I mean? They have to fight through the evaluation of the front office and defy it in order to get a chance.
And your own mental too, because you're right. I mean, if you're Tirso Ornelas or a lot of these other guys, you are, you see the backlog ahead of you and you're like, either use me or trade me, right? Because if especially if you're competing for a spot and you're right there on the bubble, and because that window can sometimes be pretty small and players know that. So hopefully we'll see what he's got and it's a good competition.
Well, I brought the iPad today, so I'm going to have it set up over here in the corner, and we'll be keeping our eye on what goes on with the Pods and the Angels. If you're looking for that game, Not on our airwaves today. It'll be on Padres.com with Jesse and Tony. And we will keep you up to date in the final 2 hours of the program. We're back with all the sports news of the day next. 12 o'clock Sports Fix comes your way after this on The Fan. It is presented by the Craft Taco. Whether you're craving gourmet tacos for lunch or a craft beer for happy hour, the Craft Taco is the answer. Now open at the Natural History Museum in Balboa Park, as well as Sorrento Valley. Okay, Craft Taco brings you to the 12 o'clock Sports Fix, 12 p.m., Tuesday, February 25th, America's Finest City, hour number 3 of the Annie and Elsten Show, with Annie Halbron, Craig Elsten, and Braden Soprennett. This is where we present to you in digestible fashion your sports news of the day. And we begin with Annie's baseball report.
All right, let's start with the Padres, who have signed left-handed pitcher Wes Benjamin to a minor league deal. He spent the last 3 seasons in the KBO. Benjamin was previously in the Rangers organization, appearing in MLB during 2020 and 2021. The New York Mets rotation took another hit yesterday when manager Carlos Mendoza announced Sean Manaea will start the season on the injured list because of a right oblique strain. Manaea is one of the Mets' top starters. New York has already lost starter Frankie Montas to a high-grade lat strain for several weeks, so they are down 2 of their rotation starters right now. The Guardians announced Monday that owner Larry Dolan passed away at the age of 94. Dolan purchased the franchise back in 2000 for a reported sale price of $323 million. He served as the team's control person through 2013 when his son, Paul, succeeded him in that regard. The Dolan family has owned the franchise for a quarter of a century now, but plans were set in motion for a change back in 2022 when David Blitzer, who co-owns the NBA's Philadelphia 76ers and the NHL's New Jersey Devils, purchased a 25 to 30% stake in the team that June. The Mets acquired outfielder Alexander Canario from the Cubs for cash considerations. New York placed Nick Madrigal on the 60-day injured list to create a 40-man roster spot. He is out of options, so he needs to break camp or be made available to other teams via trade or waivers. And the Mariners agreed to a minor league deal with reliever Garrett Hill. The former Tigers righty elected minor league free agency in November. Hill, 29, pitched for Detroit between 2022 and 2023. That is the baseball.
The baseball is done, but Braden's got fun. Here he comes.
College athletics, always fun to talk about.
Sure.
Fun.
Big meetings this week involving the college football playoff. Important conversations about the future of the CFP will continue this week in Dallas, where the 10 FBS commissioners and Notre Dame athletic director Pete Bavacqua will meet Tuesday. The commissioners and Bavacqua, an 11-member group called the CFP Management Committee, will discuss whether to change how teams are seeded in the 12-team field this fall, a tweak that would alter which teams earn first-round buys, and an automatic $4 million for reaching the quarterfinal round. While the bulk of the meeting is expected to focus on 2025, debate around automatic qualification for the playoff in 2026 and beyond is at some point inevitable. The playoff appears to be rolling towards a 14-team field and a model that includes 4 guaranteed spots for each of the SEC and Big Ten, 2 for the ACC and Big 12, 1 for the Group of 5, and another at large, which could account for Notre Dame. Officials from the Big Ten and SEC met last week in New Orleans and have the bulk of control over the playoff format starting in 2026. Funny how that works. Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey declined to say after their meeting what they would like the playoff to look like, but the highly publicized model of automatic qualifiers has already caused angst publicly and privately. Quote, it would be the beginning of the end of a legitimate national championship, one college football playoff source said. I agree with that. With more decisions looming, here's what sources who have knowledge of the discussion are saying might happen and when ahead of this week's meeting in Dallas. 2025 seeding, SEC Big Ten reaction, conference schedules, 14-team deal already done, and potentially what's next. So some interesting things to pay attention to out in Dallas for the CFP. My solution, again, is 24 teams. Let's just do what the FCS does.
Put it in the suggestion box.
I should. But greed takes over.
But greed.
So,
oh well.
It's never about the sport. Never have been. Professional and college sports have never been about the sport. These have been deep thoughts with Braden.
Thank you.
Speaking of greed, Fresno State's men's basketball program has drawn scrutiny for potential ties to sports gambling. Sources confirmed to ESPN on Saturday. This did happen over the weekend. The NCAA and university are both investigating, sources said. School has removed one player from the team and suspended 2 others for at least Saturday's 72-69 loss to Air Force. The investigation came about because of a tip to Fresno State, which then launched an internal investigation, according to ESPN. The school subsequently involved the NCAA. Fresno State said in a statement that guards Jalen Weaver and Zon Collins were, quote, being withheld from competition at the university as the university reviews an eligibility matter. Leading into the Air Force loss, Weaver and Collins were 2 of Fresno State's top 3 scorers with averages of 12.5 and 12 points. Collins also led the team with 4.7 assists per game. Fresno B first reported on the investigation into the program. Later developments say that some of these players had been betting on their own sport in terms of rebounding over unders and individual potential performances. It's still an ongoing investigation, but you wanted to make sports gambling legal. Here you go. College baseball. UCSD is off tonight since they had a long weekend in the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament. They will be hosting Cincinnati for a 4-game series this weekend, starting on Thursday. So the Bearcats are in town out of the Big 12 Conference. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Tony Gwynn Stadium, USD will play San Diego State. In baseball, after the Aztecs beat UCSD in the first round of this city rivalry championship with the 3 schools. Not only that is not the only event going on at San Diego State. Aztecs softball team will be in action at the exact same time at 6 o'clock. They're now ranked 23rd in the country after another good weekend for Coach Denise and company over there on the Mesa. And if that wasn't enough for you, you got basketball for the Aztecs at San Diego State at 8 o'clock. So Aztecs softball, Aztecs baseball, Aztecs basketball, all going on at the Mesa today.
Ooh, just go.
If you're going to the
Mesa.
basketball game, I highly recommend getting there early because you know what else is going on at that school?
Everything.
School. There's actual school going on, and it's impossible to park there anyway.
Yikes.
So softball game, baseball game, basketball game, and night class. Get there early.
Go early.
Get there early. Come check out the baseball game. Go to the
Yeah, go
softball
walk
game.
around.
Walk around. They got good places to eat on campus.
It's not that far to walk to the baseball field and then
No, you can
to
do
You
it.
could
Chaos.
totally do it.
You
both.
can do it.
You
yeah.
could do
a
it. both.
nice night in San Diego.
That's
Why not?
100%.
Right.
Get there early. I will be going straight there after work. Here's Craig with more local reporting.
Here we go. Light on the local today. The San Diego Clippers get the top spot today. They're on a bit of a roll. The G Clips took down Iowa in back-to-back road games Sunday and yesterday. Scores of 117, 108, 123, 116. The Clippers are now 9-11. That's 12th in the G League Western Conference. It's not great. Clips host Indiana on Thursday night at Front Wave Arena. In the NBA tonight, it is Luka Doncic revenge night in Los Angeles.
Luka.
The Dallas Mavericks come calling on the Lakers.
They're in LA.
Yep.
And where's our boy AD?
On the injured list.
He's still on the injured
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, he's going to be hurt for a while.
He's still hurt. Not quite ready yet.
All right. So Luka's going to want to show up and show out tonight.
He will, coming off his first 30-plus point performance over the weekend in a Lakers big win over Denver. You can watch that game tonight, 7 o'clock
Stand out, Luka.
on TNT and Max, if you are so inclined. On the NBA scoreboard last night, Minnesota did something that hadn't been done. I just saw this on Blue Sky in almost 1,500 NBA games, which is be 24 points down in the fourth quarter and win.
Oh, I would have thought that was way more common for some reason. At least somewhat common.
Uncommon.
Okay, uncommon. Sorry.
Down 24 in the fourth, losing. Common. Down 24 in the fourth.
I mean, it
winning.
feels like an 8-run deficit in the ninth, and maybe you overcome it, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Here's the numbers. Sorry.
Colorado.
Courtesy of ESPN. NBA teams coming into last night had lost 1,552 times consecutively when trailing by 24 or more in the fourth quarter.
Odds are high.
Along came Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards rallied the T-Wolves past Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, best team in the league, Oklahoma City. 131-128 with Edwards blocking SGA's game-tying three-point attempt at the buzzer. Pretty dang cool. Meanwhile, Detroit, don't look now, but Detroit, which was the worst team in the league last year, won their 9th in a row. They beat LA Clippers 106-97. Tonight, there are 7 games, including, as mentioned, the Lakers taking on the Mavericks. Milwaukee will be at Houston tonight. Speaking of Milwaukee, a pair of Indiana Pacers fans are suing the Milwaukee Bucks and their former point guard, Patrick Beverley, for what happened in Game 6 of their first-round playoff series last season.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember talking about this at the time and even playing the clip during the Sports Fix when Patrick Beverley threw a basketball into the stands at the Gamebridge Fieldhouse, hitting a female Pacers fan in the head. Beverley then waved at a different fan to throw the ball back. The fan did. Beverley caught the ball and threw it right back at the fan.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well,
that's right. Remember that.
According to the Indianapolis Star, those fans are suing Patrick Beverley and the Bucks, claiming they experienced, quote unquote, physical pain, emotional distress, humiliation, embarrassment, and anguish. They are seeking medical expenses and lost wages. Why did they lose their wages? They have to take a sick day at work? Why did they lose their wages? Anyways.
Maybe they had to take some time off.
Maybe they did, for emotional anguish and physical and humiliation and embarrassment. Kind of feel like they're aiming at a settlement here. Just kind of feel like
maybe something's coming down.
Kind of feel like a jury of 12 may not. I don't know.
Well, sometimes it's just better to settle.
12 angry men.
Yeah. Moving over to the NHL. Last night, the Winnipeg Jets, our beloved Winnipeg Jets,
your beloved Winnipeg
extended
Jets,
their winning streak to the best in the league, 10 in a row, coming from behind to beat the San Jose Sharks 2-1 in overtime. LA Kings skated past the Vegas Golden Knights by a 5-2 score. Tonight will be busy in the NHL with a dozen games being played, including the Anaheim Ducks skating at the Buffalo Sabres. Our eyes will be on D.C., where Washington hosts Calgary. Alex Ovechkin, coming off of a hat trick, is now 13 goals from passing Wayne Gretzky.
Ooh, that's cool.
13 goals away from the most goals in the history of the National Hockey League. What will he do tonight? That game will be on ESPN Plus at 4 o'clock Pacific. And that's it for the 12 o'clock Sports Fix.
Also a late addition in things that we don't care about for the Padres, but we'll pretend to care about for other teams. The first batter Roki Sasaki faced in his sim game gave up a home run.
Well,
things that don't matter for the Padres, but matter for all the other teams, apparently. But yeah, that's then he did better against the other hitters. But yeah, home run, gave up a home run.
Well, I never wanted him anyhow. All right, there's your sports.
Hashtag working on things.
Yeah, working on. He's working on stuff.
Working on it.
Why are you paying attention anyhow?
Right. Exactly. Why are we paying attention?
It's meaningless.
Right. Why am I?
It's totally.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, that's my new favorite thing of the spring. I'll just try and say that once per show. All good stats are virtuous and real. All bad stats are silly. And why are you paying attention?
Yeah. All bad stats against the Padres don't matter, but all bad stats against the other teams, they do.
Matter.
Fun to make fun of.
That is the story, and everyone's sticking to it.
When we come back, a man who knows how to stick to the story, manager Mike Shildt. The Daily Shildt is on deck, plus anybody knows in the on deck circle. As we continue forward with hour number 3 of Annie and Elsten, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Greg Elsten for Underdog, the place to turn your smarts into cold cash money. You want to win up to 1,000 times your money? You can do it with Underdog. All you have to do is play daily fantasy sports on the app. Pick as few as 2 players, as many as 8. They can be across multiple sports. You could do an NHL, NBA, PGA combined entry. And all you have to do is choose whether your players are going to go higher or lower on one of their stats, like in basketball, points, three-pointers, turnovers, assists, rebounds, PGA, birdies, strokes, etc., etc. They've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. Millions of fans have won billions of dollars making picks on Underdog, an app with over 100,000 5-star reviews. What I love about Underdog is that there's always something different for you every day, whether it's boost tokens, whether it's an opportunity to tweak one of your stats to make it easier to hit. They've always got a new promotion ready and waiting for you, especially on the weekends. Go check it out. Download the Underdog app. Sign up now using the promo code CRAIG, that's CRAIG, to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That is promo code CRAIG. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona and Massachusetts, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Back with you on the fan. Got thoroughly distracted by On the Red Greg storming the studio.
Storming the castle.
Good luck storming the castle. He just wanted to make sure the match game would be played tomorrow, and he is correct. Today, it's Anybody Knows, and we will have that game for you coming up momentarily after this segment. First, a reminder to stay tuned to be listening at 1 o'clock when we announce today's biggest fan with an opportunity to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game. You can register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. So stay tuned. We'll do that when we reopen the show at 1 o'clock. Right now, it is time for the Daily Shildt, your opportunity to hear what manager Mike Shildt had to say at Peoria Sports Complex. And I went sifting through, Braden, the 97.3 The Fan Twitter feed, where our beloved Sam Levitt continues to throw this, that, and the other in there. Only one clip today.
Starts to die down.
Elsten, your Shilty, only one clip.
We're already in the dog days of spring.
Yeah. I mean, the first 2 weeks are really like the biggest, I don't know, clip stuff.
When does the grind start, Shilty?
Yeah.
When's the grind start?
We're in the grind.
Good news today for Shilty. He does not have close talking Barry next to him. He's got instead Kevin, who is always funny on his right shoulder because Kevin always looks away while you're talking.
Barry will be back, no doubt about it.
Oh, close talking Barry.
He's making his rounds.
Yeah. I think he lives in Arizona, so he'll make his rounds and then he'll come back.
Let's hear what Shilty had to say today.
Is that like depth in the system? What does Wes Benjamin bring?
Wes Benjamin's going to tell us what he is. You know, he's clearly depth, but opportunity. You know, we have opportunities here, and good thing about the organization is, you know, we're open to it, open-minded about giving them and then evaluating them and then seeing who's the best people for the job. And Wes comes in, you know, he's been over 3 years, KBO, really taking advantage of that opportunity, comes in. All-season reports from our scouts that we trust highly are very favorable, and came in, sat down yesterday, great conversation with him. Seems like he's in a good place and excited about his opportunity.
What is the update on Brian Hoeing?
Starting to play catch, feels good, getting some strength where he needs to get to. Training room's really pleased. Most importantly, Brian's pleased about how he feels, and but we're taking the next steps in an intelligent fashion.
Tirso's obviously been in this organization for a long time. You've been in the org for a few years. Like, how have you seen him grow and develop in that span?
Yeah, you know what? I've had the privilege of being with him the last several years, but not closely. So I'm really excited to get him the opportunities he's got. You know, the homer, the double the other day, really good. I've talked to people that's been on this journey with him, and people rave in this organization, player development, guys in the big league staff that have had him in player development, just about his growth, where he's come from, how hard he's worked, how the every year he's put a new piece to his game, getting better, more consistent about understanding how to use his tools to see the game and play the game. He clearly works hard, tremendous young man, and so really happy for Tirso. He's a work in progress and a self-made player, so I'm glad he's getting the opportunity to see what he can do.
And that opportunity continues today. First inning complete in Peoria, no score between the Padres and Los Angeles.
All right.
Manny got a double in his at-bat as DH in the first, and then Hayward Cade.
Shoot.
Left him stranded.
Bummer.
What are you going to do?
Guys,
Cut him.
See more pitches and all that good stuff.
Do nothing? That's what we should do?
Cut him.
I think you're probably right. Probably do nothing. Just leave it be. Let the game continue to flourish.
Who's pitching?
Kolek is pitching.
No, for the Angels, was
I
it?
don't know.
Okay, yeah. Well, all right.
Good old Johnny, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if they're back out there in the second, I'll let you know.
Oh, wait, Soriano.
Jose Soriano.
Yeah, Soriano.
Okay. Well, he's a big league starter.
All right.
The Angels have done more work to win 78 games this year than any team in baseball.
Get a little competition going for these guys. That's good. That's what they need.
Yeah, they are still almost universally picked to finish fifth, despite being the most active free agent team in baseball. They just picked up every mediocrity they could to turn this team from 70 wins to 78.
At least
By
they're
golly.
trying, though.
They are trying really hard.
Yes.
Are they trying right?
I don't know. We'll find out.
You know that whole thing about work
Mhm.
smart, not hard? I think
Mhm.
they worked really hard this
Mhm.
offseason.
They did give us plenty of content, though, when no one else was in terms
Oh,
of
my
moves.
Lord. Yeah.
So for that, I thank you, Angels.
They filled like half your sports fixes
Yes.
in December.
That's right. It was exciting.
Hey, you know what? We didn't get to the Terso sound earlier, Braden. Let's go there, seeing as we just heard Shildt talk about Terso Ornelas. Terso Ornelas spoke to the local media over the weekend as well. Remember, this is a Tijuanense that we're talking about, Tijuana native. Kid's got local ties, even though it's cross-border, local ties. Been in the organization. This is his 10th year in the organization. He came into the organization in 2016 as a raw pup. And yet he has not made his major league debut. Here's part of what Terso had to say alongside interpreter Danny Sanchez.
Tirso, last year at AAA, the numbers were really impressive. What do you feel like you proved last year with what you did on the field?
Todo lo que lograste el año pasado en AAA, que tú mismo, ¿qué sientes que cumpliste el año pasado? Bueno, como lo dije, yo a donde quiera que vaya, con el equipo donde yo esté, sea AAA, sea Grandes Ligas, yo voy harto de mí, yo solo quiero ayudar al equipo, gracias a Dios se nos dieron las cosas personales también, pero de verdad que pues también el trabajo que vengo haciendo todos estos años, todo es un proceso, ¿verdad? Es un proceso, el béisbol es como una montaña rusa, y estás arriba, estás abajo, pero siempre, más que nada, mantenerse en línea, siempre consistente y nada, ayudar siempre al equipo.
Yeah, I've always said, whether it's AAA, whether it's the big leagues, I'm always going to give 100% of myself, right? It's all about the process. I'm going to go out there and give it all for the team, whatever the team needs of me. Last season, obviously, I was able to have some personal success, which was really cool to see. But, baseball's a game of highs and lows. And no matter what happens, again, I'm all about the process and the preparation and being there for my team and giving my all to the team.
Tirso, at times last year, it felt like, maybe you were pretty close to getting that call up. Did it feel that way to you? Or you maybe anticipating that coming at some point?
Que tal vez el año pasado a lo mejor se sentía como que ibas a recibir esa llamada, ¿no? A Grandes Ligas, que si tú sentiste como que algún momento te iba a llegar esa llamada.
Sí, la verdad sí, pues sí se sentía muy cerca, ¿verdad? También cuando me dieron la noticia de que me metieron al roster de 40, fue una noticia grande para mí. Siento que ya estaba más cerca, cada vez he estado más cerca, un pasito nomás. Pero pues nada, la llamada va a venir cuando se deba, y yo voy a estar preparado para ello.
Yeah, I definitely think there were moments last year where I felt like I was getting close. I think a moment for me was, when I got added to the 40-man roster. That was a big moment for me. But, I know that call is going to be coming soon. And whenever that call comes, I'm going to be ready whenever that time is.
Love it from Terso Ornelas, who did hit well last year. Again, minor league hitter of the year for the San Diego Padres. Batted .297 for El Paso in 128 games. 367 on base percentage, tremendous, 53 walks, only 88 strikeouts, hit 23 homers, 24 doubles, 89 runs batted in last year, 76 runs scored, all the way around. A really successful season. And, it's that thing, Annie, you can hit all you want in AAA. Everyone's going to go, yeah, well, it's El Paso, high elevation, this, that, the other thing. You got to get your chance to do it in the league. You got to do it in the show.
Tirso's interesting. First of all, the guy looks old. He's 24. He looks, I don't know.
34.
Yeah. Anyways, but good for him, So he reached the minor league free agency, and then he signed last year to continue with the Padres to try to make it with the Padres. He had an opt-out that was coming when the Padres then put him on the 40-man roster last summer. And he does have options, 2 options left. So he can move up and down between the minors and the majors at least a little bit. But the thing that I had seen from him, and I'd read the options in Jeff Sanders' story, but that he doesn't move as well in the outfield as they would like. And so for a guy who just maybe started to lift the ball recently and get a little bit more power, to not move as well in the outfield as they like, they weren't seeing enough, apparently, so hopefully this is something, where he's not a ground ball guy. He's able to get the ball up a little bit more, and he's able to work on some of those outfield skills.
Well, when you talk about that, the numbers from his minor league history really play it out that Tirso, until he was 22, struggled at the plate. Like generally struggled at the plate. When he was 22, playing between AA and AAA, he raised his average for the first time up to a decent spot. He at 286. And since then, he had 286 in 2022. He had 285 in 2023. And last year, he had 297.
Yeah.
So, things have turned around where now he's become a high 280s up to almost a 300 hitter. That on base percentage has stayed pretty consistent, though. Career 352 on base, all the way up to 367 last year.
And that's important. I mean, that's,
Very.
you want that. And that's a good sign for him. So, again, there, hopefully he's worked on some of that, the movement in the outfield and some of the defensive play, but the on base percentage for a team that is, prides themselves on being able to just kind of continue moving the baton, passing the baton, could be in the mix here.
It could be in the DH
Yeah.
mix, too.
Yeah.
Let's hear our second clip from Tirso and wrap up our sound presentation.
Tirso, obviously an opportunity out there in left field to battle for position and some playing time. How much are you looking forward to being able to battle for some playing time up at the big leagues?
Bueno, que se puede hablar sobre la competición en jardín izquierdo, obviamente, qué tantas ganas tienes para competir para esa posición.
Bueno, en realidad me siento totalmente listo para esto. Yo más que nada, pues no lo veo como competición, ¿verdad? Yo más que nada vengo a ayudar al equipo lo más que yo pueda y a dar todo de mí. Y bueno, si el lugar está para mí, yo voy a estar listo para eso.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for this opportunity. I don't really see it as a competition. I just kind of more see it as me giving it my all. Show the team what I can do and really get out there and give my all and try to make this team.
Getting a guy like Jason Hayward into this clubhouse, how much can you learn from a guy like that who's played 15-something years in MLB, and how much have you talked to him and just picked his brain a little bit?
Hablando de Jason Hayward, obviamente un veterano que tiene 15 años en grandes ligas, ¿qué tanto puedes aprender sobre alguien como Hayward?
Sí, yo trato mucho de pegarme a los jugadores con más experiencia. Trato de platicar con ellos, que me cuenten un poquito de todo su proceso, de todo lo que han vivido en grandes ligas. El otro día le pregunté cómo era jugar playoff también y me dijo que era algo increíble, que todo el trabajo da su recompensa ahí y nada, trato de también pegármele a todos los demás también con experiencia, no nomás a él y siento que todos nos ayudan mucho.
Yeah, I really try to stick by all those guys. Hayward, like you mentioned, just pick their brains about their experience, their career. Someone like Hayward, his playoff experience is something, that I've asked him about. And really not just Hayward, but all the guys, all the veteran guys that have been here for a while and that have done it, try to learn from them and really pick their brains on their approach, their process, and how they prepare.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Tirso Ornelas doing and saying all the right things. And so far, doing all the right things at the plate as well. Let's see how today goes. Yet to bat today. He's 3 away from being up for San Diego. Stephen Kolek in the top of the second inning worked around a 2-out triple.
Okay.
And got out of it. So 2 scoreless.
All right, Stephen.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, again, it's a lot of it's confidence and going out there and showing what you're going to do in certain situations and how you're going to attack certain hitters. And good for him to show some of that.
Yeah. And, the exciting thing, you won't say this to Stephen for like 2 months. Okay. But the exciting thing is, Stephen Kolek's going to start in AAA. Like, I don't almost care how well he pitches this spring. He's going to go to AAA because the team needs to see him build out physically. They need to see him get to 6 innings, 7 innings, 100 pitches, 110 pitches. They need to see that on a regular basis. They're not just going to take a flyer on it when you've got qualified guys like Waldron, Vasquez, Hart, Brito, all ahead of Kolek on the depth chart. Nonetheless, like you said earlier with Hart, the odds that he starts a game for the Padres this year, pretty good that he starts at least a game. So to see him start to get his legs under him, I just think of it this way. We hung on to Kolek all last year.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to get something out of that. And this is what you could get. You could get a starter out of it.
Exactly. Like with that Rule 5 thing, the Padres had to keep him on the roster or give him back essentially. So he stayed on the major league roster until he had his injury towards the end of the season. But now exactly, you want to try to get whatever you can out of him. And if it's in the rotation, great. If he ends up moving back to the bullpen, I think that you can do that as well. But at this point, I agree with you. I think if you're going to go through all the trouble of stretching him out, getting him to use all his pitches, really getting his mix working, you probably want to give him a chance to get that going, even if it is in AAA, because you will likely need him at some point during the season.
Huh. Well, another update from Peoria as we go to break. Brandon Lockridge reached base. Then there was a wild pitch in the dirt, and he took 2 bases on the wild pitch.
Getting aggressive.
Yeah, went from first to third on the wild pitch. Super awesome.
Okay,
then the
Lockie.
Angels brought the infield in, and Martin Maldonado promptly lined into a double play.
The Angels were in the infield.
Yeah.
Not the
Angels-
outfield. They moved in.
Yeah, Angels in the infield.
They
What
picked
ching?
up they picked up a lot of outfielders in the offseason, so they had to move.
So wait, they moved in and then they got him out?
Yeah,
What they
dou-
do?
line
They
out double play.
Oh, wow.
Line
Always
out
fun.
double play. Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
great.
Hard liner to first base. First baseman whipped it over to third. Lockridge out. And,
Well, there's
still scores.
there's a silver lining and then there's a not so silver lining there. You take the 2 bases and then you get shut down. But hey,
what can you do?
Yeah.
Let's take a time out. When we come back, it's Silly Games time for today on Annie and Elsten. Today, it's the game of Silly Easy Trivia, known as Anybody Knows, where you take on Annie Halbrin head-to-head, and if you can tie or defeat her, you will be qualified for our end of the month grand prize drawing. What are we shooting for? An opportunity for 2 tickets to see Motley Crue, the Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM, plus a hotel stay at Park MGM. Let's open up the phone lines. 833-288-0973. Lines open now. 833-288-0973. Give us a call. We'll screen a contestant. We'll play silly games when we return. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring, but Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Welcome back, everybody. Annie and Elsten program heading into our daily silly games segment. Every day we give you an opportunity to qualify for a monthly trip to Vegas. We have 4 rotating games that we play. And today the rotation lands on the game of comically easy trivia known as Anybody Knows, where a contestant will take on Annie Halbrin head-to-head in a 10-question quiz. We have screened through our callers. And today's contestant is Jason in Claremont. Hello, Jason. How are you?
Pretty good, guys. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for calling in. You get to play Anybody Knows today. Please tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we play the game.
San Diego native, and I've been going to Padres games since I was 5 years old.
Dang, all right. Mom and Dad take you?
Oh, yeah.
Love it. All right, well, here's how we play the game, Jason. It's very straightforward. We've got a quiz master over here, Braden Soprenant. He has opened up the box and pulled out a trivia card. It's got 10 questions on it.
What's in the box?
The questions. Questions are in the box.
Is that it?
What's in the box? Jason, what's going to happen is that Braden's going to read you out those 10 questions, and you're going to answer them as quickly as you can. If you have one that you're stumped on, you can say pass and come back to it. The hook of the game is that the questions are all intended to be easy, almost sometimes so easy that you might fool yourself. So just try and stay on balance. If you get all 10 right, you're guaranteed to win. Either way, Annie is going to come back in, take the exact same 10-question quiz, and at the end, we'll count it up. And if you tie or beat her, you are qualified for the drawing to go see Motley Crue in Las Vegas. Any questions?
Nope, sounds good.
All right, Jason, I'm keeping track. I got the scoreboard over here. I wish you good luck. Here's Braden.
All right, 1 minute on the clock to answer these 10 questions. What animal is leather made from?
Cow.
That would be a cow.
Ding, ding.
Where would one find a stalagmite?
Cave.
Inside a cave.
Mm-hmm.
What does the M in YMCA stand for?
Pass.
Who picked a peck of pickled peppers?
Peter Piper.
Peter Piper did. What American deadline is April 15th?
Tax.
Taxes are due.
4 out of 5.
What is mightier than the sword?
Pass.
What's the 4th planet from the sun?
Here.
Be Mars. We're number 3.
NFL team whose fans are called cheeseheads.
Packers.
Packers.
Correct.
What cartoon character regularly says, "What's up, Doc"?
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
What kind of dogs pull sleds?
Tough
Huskies.
dogs. Huskies is correct. Back up to question 3.
They're looking for sled dogs.
Come on, it's Huskies.
I'm just telling you what the card says.
Card says moops.
I didn't make the rules. What does the M in YMCA stand for? Need an answer.
Pass.
Out. What is
And-
mightier than the sword?
Yeah, what is mightier than the sword?
The Hart.
The pen.
That'd be the
Pen.
pen is mightier than the sword.
All right,
Oh,
7 for you, Jason. Stay on hold. Let's see if that's a winning score today.
Question 10 is, you don't know what they're asking for.
Yeah, it's
Because there's more than, we'll talk about later, but
yeah.
Who am I playing?
You're playing Jason in Claremont.
All right,
Annie.
Jason.
Jason's score is locked.
Let's
It's your
go.
turn.
Okay.
your turn, Annie.
Good luck.
Let's bring you back on the screen here. What animal is leather made from?
A cow?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr.
Yes,
Cal.
Cal.
Where
Mr.
would
Cal.
one find a stalagmite?
Mr. Cow.
Where would one find a stalagmite?
In the land of the stalagmites, where the princesses and peonies grow.
That'll
I don't know what kind of weird song that was, but that's not the correct. It'd be inside a cave.
A cave.
A cave.
A
That's
cave is
right.
where-
That was my second choice.
Not where the antelopes roam.
Yeah, that's what I was going for, but I couldn't remember
The
the.
antelope play.
Yeah.
Oh my lord. All right, next question 3.
What does the M in YMCA stand for?
Young man, we be dun dun dun
It'd be
dun.
men, correct?
Yeah,
Men's.
yeah.
Who picked a peck of pickled peppers?
Who picked a peck of pickled peppers?
Yeah.
Did he pick a peck of pickled peppers? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That
What's his
guy.
name? With the initials PP.
Paul?
Nope.
Oh.
Peter.
Oh.
Peter
Peter
Piper.
Piper.
Oh,
picked
Peter
a peck
Piper.
of pickled
Dang it!
peppers.
I just saw Peter the other day.
Peter Piper picked
Yeah.
a pepper. Oh
Peter
boy.
Piper.
What American deadline is
Yeah.
April 15th?
Tax day.
Yes, ma'am.
Sucks.
What is mightier than the sword?
The pen?
The
I
pen.
know it.
What's the 4th planet from the sun?
Uranus.
What?
Huh?
He draws the foul.
It'd be Uranus, but the correct answer is Mars.
Wait, is it really Uranus?
They changed the name.
Is
so
that how
have-
you say it?
Yeah, it is.
Uranus.
It is.
Is it really?
Uranus. Yeah.
I never knew that that's how you do the accent.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
well,
that was literally my sincere bad.
I knew that was going to be your answer.
Uh-huh.
I was ready for the foul. I thought Jason said Europe. That's why I paused. I don't know. Did he say Earth? What did he say?
He said Earth.
He said Earth. I
He
thought he
said
said
Earth.
Europe, but I'm like, well, no.
Not a planet.
NFL team whose fans are called cheeseheads.
The Packers.
Yeah.
What cartoon character regularly says, "What's up, Doc"?
That would be my old pal Bugs Bunny.
What kind of dogs pull sleds?
Ones that are like, hey dog, jump in my sled. Oh,
Hey,
I know
dog.
Huskies because my nephew has 2 beautiful Huskies.
Yes, you.
I love them so much.
Apparently,
ex-
they're not just huskies; it's sled dogs.
We accept that
Sled-
We
answer.
accept it
Sled
though because we gave it to
Huskies.
Jason.
We
Sled
gave-
dog Huskies.
Look at
Sled
that.
dogs.
7-7. We got ourselves a tie.
Wow.
Oh, Jason, you get entered into the
Yeah.
contest now.
Tie's as good as a win.
Mhm.
Tie goes to the runner, and in this case, the runner is Jason.
Jump in that sled, dog.
Sled dog. Like, what are they asking for? You know, it's
Jump in that sled. No.
one of
right.
those.
Oh, yeah, that was a dumb answer
That's
on the card.
That's a dumb
Wait,
question.
what was the answer?
Sled
Sled
dogs.
Oh, that is dumb.
What dogs pull a sled? Sled dogs do.
I would because immediately I'd think of the type of dog.
Yeah, it's a husky.
Right.
It's
Right.
always a husky.
They're so pretty.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
Jason, well done, sir. I wasn't sure that 7 would be enough, but today 7 was enough. You are in the drawing. Thank you so much for playing.
What did he say
Thank you,
to the what did he get wrong?
Well, we can go through the questions. But stay on hold, Jason.
Stay on hold, Jason.
Yeah, stay on hold through the break so that Braden can make sure we got all your information. But you are in. You're one of just a handful of qualifiers in the month of February.
We got all his info. He's good to go.
Do we?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Jason, you're good.
You
You can
can
hang
hang
up
up,
on
dude.
you, bro. All right. Jason got question 3 wrong, which was
That was the let me pull the card back out.
yeah.
That was the M in YMCA.
Yep. Didn't know. Did he even have an answer? I don't think he even had an answer.
No, he
No.
passed twice.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
You
Don't want that heat, Jason, do you?
Do not collect $200.
yeah, you both
Okay.
got Mars wrong.
Oh.
You said
What did he say?
he said
He
Earth.
said
Oh,
Earth.
Earth, Earth,
said
Earth.
Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said Uranus.
You didn't.
That's not what you said.
That's not what you said at all.
But you have 3 fouls. So
That's fair.
Uh,
Yeah, you're on a minutes restriction
Okay.
now.
this is very much not a Tuesday show for Andy. This is more of
This
a
is a
Friday,
Friday,
show.
yeah.
Hey, dog, jump in my.
Hey,
Hey,
dog, jump in my sled. That type
We're
of
about to
dog.
go rolling in the snow.
That's the type of dog.
Oh, he's got
The
that dog in him.
deer and
It's
the
in sled.
antelope.
Get that fish out the
play.
water. Cook us some dinner tonight.
The stalagmite with the deer and the antelope play.
Mhm.
That was a good game of anybody knows.
What was the other one he missed? Pen is mightier than sword.
Yeah, he missed the pen.
Ah,
He
that's
said the
that's a
heart.
big journalism
He
one.
said the heart was mightier than the sword.
No, don't mess with people who can put things in print.
The sword
Yes.
pierces the heart. The sword is mightier than the heart, but the pen The pen is
Mhm.
And
very,
get you.
the pen is very strong.
Oh,
It's a very
Greg
strong
says it's
pen.
not the husky breed. They are a mixed breed called sled dogs. My son was a mush. Is that what it's called, Greg? A musher?
A musher.
A musher in Alaska.
That's why I said I was like,
Ooh,
it's
well, we're going with husky.
technically a
today.
sled dog.
Okay.
Well, they both got it wrong, so it doesn't matter.
Oh.
That's true. Yeah.
It's the
If we counted
6'6"
them both
tie.
incorrect,
Wait, but if it's a
6'6".
mixed breed, it's a husky and a what?
That's a great
they're,
question.
They're sled dogs.
Oh.
Right there.
All
Okay,
I know
I'm-
is that
You're
when
just used to
my
huskies
nephew's
on, like-
dogs go to the snow, they are very happy. So
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
They like to dig too.
Mhm.
I declare that question to be
It's a dumb question.
Thanks, Greg.
insufficient for me. Although Greg has fixed it for me, but nonetheless, I don't think it's a fair question.
I don't think so either.
It's just not fair.
What do you ask? Like, I would immediately think of a breed. I don't
Right.
remember sled dogs being a.
Yeah.
I
It's
guess
supposed to be
everybody.
easy to
I
do.
guess everybody
Kinda cool
knows
his
that.
son is a musher. How do you say it? Musher in
Musher.
Alaska.
Musher.
Okay.
Because that's what they say.
They
When they're
mush.
like mush,
Mush, mush,
Wait, when they're yelling at the dogs?
Yeah,
Yes.
like to go. Like it's like
I've never seen the movie.
I need to look into
like,
this.
You never
Yeah.
saw that? You never saw the movie Snow Dogs with like Cuba Gooding Jr. in it?
Oh, I love Cuba Gooding Jr. But I don't think I've seen that.
Snow Dogs. It's about like that race they did.
Mush.
At the,
Mush.
Okay. All right.
the
You
Iditarod.
never watched the cartoon Balto?
Don't think so.
Balto?
Yeah, it was like a sled dog cartoon from Disney or something.
A sled dog cartoon.
Yeah, Balto.
Well, I guess they had to explore a niche one day.
1995 live action animated adventure. Balto.
Probably still find that on the Disney app or something,
Probably on
maybe.
Disney
Kevin
Plus.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Bridget Fonda. Phil Collins.
Jeez.
Wow.
They're in that as voice actors.
That's the Iditarod. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if
yeah.
it's a Disney thing. It's
Oh.
Universal. Universal made it.
Okay.
Balto.
News you can use as we head to hour number 4 of Andy and Elsten. Show reset next. 1 o'clock on the Fan, hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten. Great to be here with you on a beautiful, tranquil San Diego afternoon. Annie Halbrin, Craig Elsten, and Braden Soprenet. Oh, it's that time. It's that time.
1 for 1 of the week.
Let's go 2 for 2 right now. Are you all ready? It's time to congratulate today's biggest fan, Kenneth Gervasio from Chula Vista.
Let's go, Kenneth.
Kenneth Gervasio from Chula Vista. Give us a call back in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you will qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember, if you haven't yet, you can still register your name. Go to 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan. But Kenneth Gervasio, you're the man, dog. You're the man, dog.
Please call in, Kenneth. But again, Greg in the chat says a statue of Balto the dog is in Central Park, and he's right. There's a statue of Balto the dog in Central Park.
Yeah.
Right outside the Children's Zoo.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
That's where the dog, I guess that's where the dog is from.
Thought it was a
There we go.
comic
Oh,
dog.
Balti was a heroic dog when in 1925, Nome, Alaska was stricken with a horrific diphtheria, like dysentery, I guess, outbreak.
Mhm.
And not enough antitoxin was available to treat all the sick until teams of mushers and sled dogs battled a blinding blizzard and traveled 674 miles to deliver the medicine.
And Balto was one of them.
And Balto was one of the heroic lead dogs.
Yes, there's a movie on it, like I said. There's a couple of movies on it. The cartoon is the one I'm talking about.
That is fantastic.
Made in 95 by Universal.
There it is.
Balto.
Like you said,
There it
news you
is.
can use.
Yeah. Balto. Kenneth Gervasio. We're all counting on you. Kenneth's friends, please call him, text
Be like
him.
Balto, Kenneth. Be a hero.
Yes. Mush. Kenneth. Mush.
Add it to your list, Annie.
Yeah.
Mush
I
your
think you'd
way.
actually like Balto.
I bet I would. I would love it probably. I'm going to add to the list.
Yeah,
Fine.
put it at
let's
the
put it
bottom.
at the bottom.
Put it at the bottom of the list.
You can move
At
it
the
up a little
top
bit.
is still Glengarry.
Have you
Glen
started
Ross.
season 3 of White Lotus yet?
Oh, no, because I want to watch it when I don't like going week to week.
Oh, you want to watch it
wanna
all
watch
straight
it
through?
when they all are together. Like I just finished Shrinking
Uh-huh.
season 2 over the weekend. So I can cross that off the list. And sorry, I went out of order there.
Yeah,
But,
Glenn Ross would
yeah,
like to
God,
wave hello
I
to
did
you.
think about it, and then I went to Shrinking.
Ah.
But I wanted to wait till Shrinking was all together so I could binge it.
Fourth felon, Annie.
And I loved it. It was great. Season 2. It's good.
Yeah.
Playing with fire, you two, this week.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But I'm looking at my list right now. There's Glengarry Glen Ross.
Right at the top.
Yeah, right at the top.
Sitting
so
there. Just
hopefully going to
sitting
be
there.
All you have to do is
hopefully
watch
going to be
the opening scene.
this
That's it.
weekend,
That's all
right?
I gotta do,
Yeah.
opening scene. That's it.
No score in Peoria
Balto the
between
dog.
the
Right.
Los Angeles and Los Padres. Brandon Lockridge made a really nice running catch in center field
Mhm.
to end the 4th inning and keep Adrian Morajon with a scoreless frame. Yeah, and breaking into just a little bit of Padres as we hit reset on the show topics of the day. Padres signed a probably minor league left-hander, Wes Benjamin, and invited him to camp today out of the KBO.
It's like a country club.
And actually, I thought he was a starting rotation guy, but I was just reading reports that, maybe he's a reliever. I don't know. Maybe he's starting in AAA, like you said, and they're
Yeah.
figuring out how to use him. So,
Where are you playing golf this weekend? Oh, at the West Benjamin.
yeah, it does sound like
That's
that.
what it sounds like.
Yeah. It was a 5-star resort. I had a lovely stay at the West Benjamin.
The West Benjamin.
He's a Padre now, so fall in love.
So excited.
Yeah. Eggy Rosario starting again today. Tirso Ornelas starting again today. The battle for the final roster spots are pretty robust for San Diego. And while you're like, well, do I really care about the 5th starter, the 8th reliever, the 5th outfielder? I think you do. I think you do. On the margins, you do.
Let's care.
Well, this is just the one thing I was going to say, and this is extremely, I'm just watching him right now, recency bias. But can the Padres be a better team without Lockridge on the 26-man roster? Who's the backup center fielder to Jackson Merrill if you don't have Brandon Lockridge on the team?
I thought we discussed this. Wasn't this?
It's like Hayward.
Case of emergency, Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Tatis
maybe
or
it's-
Hayward.
I don't think it can be Hayward. I really don't.
I don't
I don't
either.
think he's. No offense to him, he's a 5-time Gold Glover. He's fantastic, but I don't know that he's got the pop anymore, that the speed anymore to move that well. I could be wrong. Okay, I could definitely be wrong. I don't know. Is it? What does Gavin Sheets play? No, he's yeah.
No,
Okay.
he plays DH.
Yeah.
That's a yeah.
All right. Well,
I kind of feel like you
Eggy
have to.
maybe.
He's barely ever
I
played
know,
the outfield.
but-
I mean, neither did Jackson Merrill before last year, but I want.
Maybe they move Fernando to center and they put Jason Hayward in right. Although
Yes.
Petco Park right field is pretty
Tricky.
Pretty tricky. It's pretty hard. Yeah.
I mean, Hayward would be fine and right.
He'd be fine. He's a good player.
I kind of think you need Lockridge on the team.
He's a good
Okay.
pinch runner too.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not Lockridge, it's T Wade. That's the next backup center
That's right.
fielder.
Could be T Wade. He works at all positions, gets his reps in.
Lockridge is a way better defender. A way better defender. I feel like the combination of Lockridge's ability to run down a ball, he could be even a defensive replacement, even for Hayward
Mhm.
in left field in late innings. Remember last year, he used to sub in for Profar every game when the
Yes.
Padres were winning. Lockridge would sub in the 8th, 9th inning. But that gives you also the ability that you've got two speed guys off your bench. So you could pinch run Tyler in a game, or you could hold Tyler because he's so positionally versatile, and you could pinch run Lockridge
Yeah.
in a game, and he's got that 80 grade speed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do need to be thinking about this because you just never know, right? During the season when you might need someone to step in and might not have to be for a long time, but you still want to be able to at least not devalue the position as best as you can. So it's funny because the Padres do have plenty of versatile guys and plenty of guys who play multiple different positions, but then you get to a little some tricky spots where you're like, okay, who would be the best guy here, right? And especially when you have competition for some of these or at least one of these outfield spots. Well, Jason Hayward just had a nice AB and drew a walk or a nice plate appearance.
Yeah.
And but
And he gone.
okay, and then now the inning's over.
Yeah,
Okay.
Eggy just grabbed it out, and the inning ends nonetheless. Yeah, scoreless at Peoria
Yeah.
so far today for the Padres and the Angels. Meanwhile, later tonight, and we have tickets to give away, don't we? It's in the rundown, at least. Do we?
Oh no.
No, we don't. Never mind.
We gave those away yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay, great. So never mind then on that part. Ignore that part. Let's just talk about the Aztecs and New Mexico. We
Wait.
haven't talked about this since 10.
Did Kenneth call?
Kenneth, we still need you. Kenneth
Yeah.
Gervasio.
Yeah.
Got 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes, Kenneth.
90 seconds.
Get in here, Kenneth.
Big game for the Aztecs tonight.
Taking on the number one team in the Mountain West. Lobos have been really solid all year long. They have not faded down the stretch the way that they've faded down the stretch in some past years. And the Lobos held San Diego State to a really ugly 48 points when the two teams met at the pit. It was a game that was dominated by New Mexico's offensive rebounding prowess. They offensive rebounded the Aztecs 18-3 in that game. All the second chance shots were basically the difference in the game. But anytime you go to New Mexico, you play in the pit, you play at elevation.
Yeah.
That's one of the places you kind of expect to lose in the Mountain West is going to New Mexico. New Mexico come to you. That's where you're supposed to even the ledger. But without Magoon Guath, who the Aztecs did get good news on over the course of the last 2 days, he is looking at a knee hyperextension as opposed to a knee ligament tear or injury or sprain that would have sidelined him for the year. There is hope that he will be back before the conference tournament. There's hope that he could be back for the last week of regular season games, but that is simply a hope right now. That's not a guaranteed diagnosis. And without Guath, it's a real juggling act, I think, tonight, Annie, in terms of how the Aztecs configured things. And I think they're going to need to turn to the young man who just nicked out Miles Byrd for leading scorer right now, which is Nick Boyd. It's going to be a big-time point guard battle between New Mexico's Donovan Dent and Nick Boyd of the Aztecs tonight. Both guys are going to try and charge the rack. Both guys are going to try and get to the hole over and over again. They're probably going to be guarding one another for some period of time. And whoever wins out on that matchup is probably a pretty good indicator of who wins this evening.
And you need guys to step up. We talked about it this morning, where when you've got Magoon Guath, you've got one of your big players, one of your guys who has been so important to you all season long. You're going to need production from other guys. And there's been a few guys on that roster who have just had down a few weeks or down games here and there. And so this is really where, for them and for the confidence of this team, you have those guys step up. Well, then when you get Magoon Guath back, you have an even better team. You've got a team that has battled and has fought through adversity, and you've seen better production from certain guys. And now you're able to kind of keep the ball rolling and feel like you've got an even better team. But for Magoon Guath, yes, the summary was a hyperextended knee, a sprain, week to week, no surgery required. But you don't know how long that rehab is going to take and like when it's going to feel good enough to actually play on and be able to contribute on. So you got to go forward and you got to try to make the argument that tonight is kind of a must win. Are we calling it a must win? It's not a must win, but it would really help you if you win.
It's close to a much win.
It's a much win.
Yeah, it's at least very much on the precipice of a much win, because Braden, you've gone through this. Really, the next 3 games for San Diego State, I think, are all must wins because of the negative damage that would be done to their RPI and all of their various ratings. Tonight, if you lost to the number 1 team, it's another home. First of all, it'd be another home loss.
Yeah.
And the Aztecs had been playing poorly at Viejas. They turned that around in the last game. They really took it to Boise State. They handled a good team at home, but they did it with Magoon Guath blocking 6 shots in the game, including taking Tyson Dengenhart to school and blocking him back-to-back underneath the basket. So it is going to be a difference, but it does seem, Braden, like tonight there might be still at least the tiniest sliver of wiggle room left for SDSU.
Yeah. If they lose tonight?
Yeah.
Well, if they lose tonight, they're fine still. If they win the next 3, they'll be set.
Yeah.
I mean, the RPI,
it's not a must win.
it's a quad 2 game
Yeah.
at home, or it's a quad 2 game in the net for the Aztecs because New Mexico is ranked 42nd. You got to be top 30 for a home game for it to be a quad 1 game. So it's a quad 2 in the net. It's a quad 1 game for the RPI. So their RPI quad 1s, they're 3 and 5 currently. They can add to their RPI quad 1 wins, but this is a quad 2 game at home. Again, it's better to play these games on the road. But there's not going to be a lot of damage if this game is close and they lose.
So that's the good news for San Diego State. Here's the bad news. The game's on at 8:00, and I'm going to forget that it's on.
You are going to forget.
It's on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah.
too,
Well,
so.
okay. Explain this to me, because I always blamed CBS Sports for these 8:00 starts. What's up with Fox Sports 1?
They got 3 games today too, I think.
All right.
I said the same thing. I saw the game list today, and I saw that TCU is playing West Virginia at 6:00 our time, which is like, oh, cool. But they're playing in Morgantown, so they're playing a 9:00 tip on the East Coast. I go,
That's insane.
and I'm like, why? Their game's on CBS Sports Network for some odd reason, and they're playing after Richmond and some other Atlantic 10 game. I'm like, why have the other East Coast game on at 6 Pacific time? A 9:00 local time start is even more ridiculous than an 8:00 local time start.
I can't even imagine getting a ticket and it says 9 p.m.
I know.
Like, come on out.
Well, it's Morgantown. What else are you going to do on a Tuesday night?
Fair
I
enough.
guess?
Still a Tuesday night, and
It's at 9:00 at night. That's an insane tip time for these, for whatever.
You're
but-
ending at what, like 11? Like,
yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's if the game cruises.
right. If the game cruises,
Right,
exactly
probably
11:30, then you got to do your pressers and get your. What about? Is anyone on deadline in Morganville or
Morgantown?
Morgantown?
Do they have newspapers there?
Do they have?
Right.
Yeah, I
You're
don't
not
know.
making
honestly,
that print edition.
do they?
Tell you that. Yeah.
They got to send it up to Pittsburgh. Is that part of the Pittsburgh local beat there?
guess.
Morgantown, only 45 minutes, hour away. I'm going to sit there like TCU's not going to get back to like 5, 6 in the morning in Fort Worth. They going to class tomorrow? Think they're going to class tomorrow?
No.
You going to make them go to class tomorrow?
It's so bad. Honestly,
Still student athletes.
Now, listen, if I was a college student, if I was 22 years old or 19 years old, then 9:00 sounds groovy.
Yeah, I'm
I'd
not.
be-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd be like, put it at 10 o'clock, put it at 11 o'clock. I don't care. I'm up all night.
I'm
a
not going to
college
class
kid.
the next day.
Right. Now, so I'm just recognizing now that I'm 52 and The idea of you're putting this way too close to my bedtime.
Wait, well, you can't take it's a school night, so you can't take kids to the game.
No.
9:00. Did you take James to a 9:00?
Never.
Sporting event 5 years ago? Like not even. I mean, he's older now, right?
Yeah.
He's almost high school age. It would be the end of the world. But like a 6th grader. We got tickets to the game tonight. What time to start? 9. You're not it's past your bedtime. Can't
No
go.
chance ever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take him at 13 to a 9:00 game. Mostly because he wouldn't care and he'd tell me that he wants to stay home. But
Did you take him to a 9:00 concert?
No.
Exactly. Aztecs will be playing
You're
behind.
gonna take him to a 9:00 concert. You think Kendrick Lamar is starting on time? Like,
well, he'll
Sure.
be out of school.
He'll be out of school by then. Summer vacation.
Okay.
He'll be out of
I
school
take it
for
back.
that trip. We'll
Yeah, I
take
take
him
it
out of
back.
school for that.
So
trip.
I'm starting at 6.
You
But
don't
yes.
think?
No, I don't.
What time does Sizza come on? I don't know.
Providence Marquette is the game in front of the Aztecs today on Fox Sports 1. They tip off at 4. Do we
What?
think that game's going to be done in 2 hours?
No.
Or you mean they tip off at 6?
No, they tip off at 4. That's game 1. So that one's going to push back the other game.
Oh, yeah,
Let's see what
yeah,
the
yeah,
6:00 game
What's
is.
the 6:00
Let's see. I'm scrolling through all the games.
Didn't
today.
Billy Joel write a song about
Iowa,
Morgantown?
Illinois.
That was Allentown.
Allentown.
Yeah.
That's it. The
Iowa,
Steelworkers.
Iowa,
Yeah.
Illinois
Right.
from Champaign, Illinois is your game before the Aztecs at 4. That's 6:00. We think that game's ending on time?
No.
Probably not.
And we're living here in Allentown.
And we're living here in Allentown.
I've been to
They're
Morgantown.
shutting all the factories
It's an interesting
down.
place.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
Iowa,
Billy Joel's
Illinois
great.
is in front of you.
But wait, Morgantown is what did you think of Morgantown?
It was cool.
Yeah.
There's only one way in and one way out of that place.
Well,
yeah.
No, seriously,
way
like
out
when
is
you,
about right.
so like when we
The one
rolled
way out's
in,
in a box. It's in a funeral.
we
box.
stayed in Bridgeport,
can't leave,
West
but you can't
Virginia.
stay here.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay
No,
here.
what's Hotel California? What's
No,
that
you're-
line?
You
You're
can
talking
check
about-
in anytime, but you can never leave.
That's right.
So Morgantown, to get into the city, or like to where the football stadium is, there's one way in and one way out, and it's a 2 lane, so it's one lane in, one lane out. And so when your bus shows up, they use that to like, get everybody into the stadium, and it's gridlock because it's just like a main drag through a bunch of strip malls and fast food establishments.
Is everybody like cheering outside though? Like, is it like
Oh, yeah, but it's
Friday Night
not-
Lights? Like,
Except
No.
for the fact that you're the away team, so stuff's
Oh.
getting thrown at you the whole time.
Oh, okay.
So you get the police escort in, and everybody has to, when the opposing team comes up, they have to go pull up on the curb to get out of the way of the 6 buses that are about to roll in, because it's just, and it's the way getting out too. It's the same thing getting out. There's only one way in and one way out of Morgantown.
Mhm.
So it's a wild place to play.
When we come back, another update from the Padres in Peoria. Yuki Matsui has taken the mound. We'll let you know how that went through. Plus, good news on the tournament front for UCSD. Bad news for a former Padre who's a current Met. We will get to all of that in our next segment, working our way toward Ask Us Anything. And then Gwen and Chris at the top of the hour. It's San Diego's #1 sports station, Annie and Elsten on 97.3 The Fan. Kenneth didn't call.
Kenny.
Her in the ball club.
Jeez, Kenneth.
Not too
Armed
thrilled
with
with you today,
bandits.
Kenny.
Hang with thieves.
Yeah. At Padres spring training, one update for you, and then I've got another one. Yuki Matsui worked his way around a walk in a scoreless top of the fifth inning. Wasn't really commanding the zone, though, very well. Wasn't that psyched with what I saw from little Yuki.
I didn't see Yuki pitch. I mean, obviously we're doing the show, but
I got my little iPad here.
okay,
So
okay.
checking it out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I do, so I can't weigh in on that, but
I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
didn't love what I saw. Tirso just got a sun double to center
nice.
field.
High skies in Arizona.
He just lifted a routine fly to center, and the poor
Mhm.
center fielder for the Halos
Where is it? Uh-oh.
hit his shoe top. Hit him right in the shoe.
Blink. Spring training for everybody.
Yep.
What a terrible feeling it is to settle under the ball and have it hit you in the foot.
It's better than getting hit anywhere else.
I guess.
I'd rather get hit in the foot than the face or
Yeah.
anywhere else.
baseball lends itself to so many like embarrassing moments that
Such a hard game.
It's a hard game.
yeah, and it's not like football where there's like all the other players to watch. You're just watching that one person and watching the ball hit the foot.
One thing I would say is that Terso's a big boy. Like
He is. He looks
he's-
older,
I know.
but he is 24.
He's
so
the
it's not
oldest
like
24-year-old ever.
I think it's that we haven't seen him yet in the majors, and so I think of them all as like kids, and he is still a kid, obviously, but yeah, he's 24.
This should be the easiest discussion topic of the show. Fernando Tatis Jr. arrived at Padres camp today and was sent home
Oh, no.
for being too sick still.
Didn't pass protocol.
He's been fighting the flu. He caught it over the weekend, and he has been down and out for it seems like 4 or 5 days now for San Diego.
Yeah, him and Luis Campusano sounds like Campy got the flu too. That's why you haven't been seeing him in games. But I think Campy was back at the facility maybe today, or they've been coming in and out a little bit. But yeah, you just got to go home. And it's not worth throwing yourself out there and trying to battle through. These games aren't games that count. I think it's actually probably a little bit more frustrating for Luis Campusano, who probably feels a little bit of pressure in going out there and showing what he can do this season, but you can't do that when you got the flu, you know?
You can't. And if it's this bad and it's knocking people out for 5-6 days, like the last thing you want is for Fernando to show up 2 days early.
Yeah.
Being a warrior. I'm here because
everybody's out.
Yeah. And then everyone else gets sick next week. And then you're missing half your team next week. So my concern meter that Fernando hasn't made an appearance yet in the Cactus League is at a 0 out of 10. I'm not worried at all. He'll be back.
Not a pennant race
Fernando
yet.
is not competing to make a roster spot.
The guy really
He'll
wants
just
the Cactus League championship.
be on the
man.
team.
Guy's
Yeah.
locked in. Give it his best. He wants
to get that
He wants a new TV.
Wants that new TV.
That's right.
That brand new TV. So that's the latest from Padres spring training in Peoria. Earlier today and earlier in the segment this hour, we talked about San Diego State basketball. UCSD is, of course, off until Thursday. The Big West is very, very
Thursday, Saturday.
Yep, very regimented. Thursday, Saturday, Saturday. I believe they're at CSUN on Thursday, but at least in one metric now, Braden, UCSD is one slot ahead of UConn.
There you go.
And I just want to stop on the side of the road. You know, who knows where this crazy thing finishes?
Yeah.
I'd just like to pause in this moment and recognize that Eric Olin, head coach of the UCSD Tritons, that's taken them from the CCAA via the SCIAC all the way up to where we are now in the Big West, is doing better than the best coach in the history. Just ask him.
That's
of
right.
college basketball, Dan Hurley. Dan, you're looking up at Eric Olin, right?
Olin and 35 other coaches.
Yeah.
What's going on with UConn? Are they no good this year? Are they only okay?
Well, they lost to Seton Hall a couple Saturdays ago, but no, they're okay. I mean, they're blaming the playing in the Maui Invitational and all this other stuff, but because they got swept in the Maui Invitational this year by Memphis, Colorado. I mean, they lost to Colorado. Colorado might be one of the worst basketball teams I've ever seen. They lost to Dayton too. All in the Maui Invitational, and then he dogged the Maui Invitational the whole time and said we'll never be participating in this ever again. And then they went on a nice little winning streak, but they haven't really handled the Big East very well. Dropping games to Villanova, Creighton beat them, which helps out San Diego State and UCSD because San Diego State beat Creighton. St. John's they lost to, and then the worst one was losing at Seton Hall. Seton Hall's got 7 wins. They're 7-20. Their net is 213. So losing to them plummeted UConn in the net rankings, which is the one that they are one spot higher than UCSD. Also, they got swept by St. John's this year. So the greatest coach of all time, Dan Hurley, got swept by Rick Pitino this year. So maybe Rick's got something to say about that, huh?
Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in college basketball.
They lost on Sunday at Madison Square Garden to Rick Pitino's St. John's 89-75. Thanks, Dan. Go enjoy your chicken basket, buddy.
Dude, he needs to enjoy a chicken basket. I don't think he's been locked in for a while. I think
he's not locked in.
I think he's been a wild, like one of those power lines that get knocked down during a storm, and it's just throwing just throwing sparks everywhere, just
hey man,
threatening to electrocute everyone. That's basically Dan Hurley.
Better watch out. Seton Hall ends the season in Connecticut in stores. 7-20 Seton Hall that already got him once.
Pride goeth before the fall.
UConn's got Georgetown at Providence Marquette. Seton Hall left.
UC San Diego, 22 Division I wins, 14 wins in conference, winners of 9 in a row. Now in the 30s.
Did I miss it
in
too?
their ranking.
Did we give isn't their women's team doing good too?
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
They were good last year when I watched them play.
Yeah. So UCSD, look, it's exciting. You want SDSU to be there, you want UCSD to be there, but for this city, San Diego, that like loves some college basketball, and it's a great story. You guys, your first year you're eligible in NCAA play. You're having this kind of season. It's a great story.
UCSD women are 500 this year.
Okay, well,
I think it's a good player. San Diego State women's doing pretty well.
Oh, good.
Just to compare, like UCSD is 36 in the net, 38 in the RPI. Strength of schedule 149.
Yeah.
Non-conference strength of schedule 242.
242. That's the killer. And we talked about it earlier in the show, right, Braden? For everything that's happened for San Diego State, injuries, inconsistent play, not really rolling through the Mountain West. At the end of the season, they have a number 10 out of conference strength of schedule. That number alone might be the number that puts them in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
That's the reason why San Diego State at 17-7 and kind of struggling through the Mountain West and having games tight against teams that they shouldn't have tight games with. That's why they are in the last 4 bye category and a win away from playing themselves well into the field in comparison to UCSD that is now just joining the bubble conversation, but part of the next 4 outs, or maybe the next 4 out after that, if they're not an automatic qualifier. The big metric right there and the difference is the non-conference strength of schedule, which is something that they can control. Now, that being said, if you're Eric Olin, year 4 of being a D1 program, you probably shouldn't schedule like San Diego State's non-conference schedule yet until you're at that comfortable level. Who knows where UCSD would be right now if they had to play that schedule, but it's something to build off of for next year. Now they can actually go out there and schedule some of those games.
Before we wrap up this particular segment and get to Ask Us Anything, just a couple of other notes from around spring training. Did you guys see that Sean Mania has an oblique strain?
It was in the Sports Fix, Craig.
Well, then you saw it.
Yeah, the oblique. It's on the non-throwing arm.
Yeah, no, it's he's going to be out to start the season.
Yeah, well, now that's 2.
And
that's 2 for the Mets. Montas is out. Mania is out.
Look, that's not a good feeling for. You got Juan Soto. You've got a good top of your lineup, et cetera, et cetera. But that rotation was always kind of a question, not a huge question mark, but definitely not the most elite rotation in the big leagues as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
And now you've got 2 out of your rotation that aren't going to be able to start the season because of injuries. It's not a good feeling for the Mets.
Yeah, go ahead, Braden.
Do I report on some Diamondback news too?
Do you think they're going to go get what's his face now?
Quintana,
Yeah,
I do.
It's possible.
so do I.
Yeah.
What was? Sorry, Braden.
This is what
were you
Annie
saying?
sent us.
Oh
Earlier.
yes,
Oh.
thank you. Yes, it's a perfect kicker.
What
To wrap
you want to
this
give us
segment.
the
So
lowdown?
this is a parody from, it looks like, the Diamondbacks CEO, who is trying to get fans to
Derek Hall.
Derek Hall.
Former Padre front office
Oh,
guy
thank you very much.
from
Okay.
decades ago, but yeah.
And he's the CEO, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's been with the Diamondbacks forever. But
Yeah.
like back in 2000, I want to say he was with the Padres.
Well, what I appreciate this is that some CEOs would try to just use this language and just try to be hip, but he's making fun of himself, and I appreciate it. So let's give it a whirl.
I think this is on their TikTok.
It's on their TikTok. He's trying to, it says, letting our Gen Z social team write a script. And he's going to all the various spots around, what's that? Salt River Fields, Salt Lake Fields, something
River.
Fields, Salt River, and trying to entice people to come out.
Hey, besties, baseball season is back. No cap. It is time to enter your D-backs era. At our training fields, players be cooking. Pop off, Queens! They normally respond. They're locked in. Being an acai bowl has given me main character energy. Sitting on the lawn is low-key fire. Some burros ate and left no crumbs. Slay. The vibes are immaculate. Ballpark empanadas, let them cook. Salt River Fields. It's giving classy, it's giving cute, it's giving demure. This smash burger would send a Victorian child into a coma. Negative aura points if you don't shop at our team shop.
Negative aura.
Coming out to a spring training game is common sense, I fear.
Wait, I didn't. No.
Is common sense, I fear.
I
Is that
fear that's
a Gen Z thing.
That's definitely what they definitely talk like that. This is all the stuff that they talk about.
Entering the Diamondbacks era.
Negative aura points.
The negative aura
Well,
is
that-
so great.
It is,
That's
it is
positive
holy
negative
cringe.
aura.
That's what
That's
makes it so
yours.
funny.
I immediately sent that to our coaching staff and I
Hmm.
said, this is Coach Beals talking to his D line because he does that to troll them all the time.
Yeah.
And it is the most hilarious thing ever because it definitely ruffles their feathers and makes them not want to say anything. Negative aura, no cap. No cap.
I mean, it's totally cringe,
I fear.
but it's meant to be cringe.
Oh my, that was perfectly executed.
I
by
think
him.
so too.
It was done very well.
He
I think
did
so
it in
too.
such a cringe level.
Yeah, he sold it.
Does
he
he
didn't
have,
have
if
to work
he has
hard to sell it.
kids
Right.
or sons or teenager children, I'm sure they're just
Yeah.
rolling their eyes at dad. Right
I thought
now.
it was creative, so
I think you need to play that on loop a couple times, Craig, as you drive to go pick up James. So you can start
Mm.
talking like it and see what he does.
I think what's so funny too is it's not even like well shot. Like you can
No.
tell, like he's not even wearing a microphone, I don't think. Like
No.
it's like all the audio is different depending on where you're
Yes,
standing. Like
right.
they literally shot it on the
it's
phone.
like a high school kid's video
Yes.
project for a class.
You're like the lawnmower going
Yeah,
in the
it's-
distance.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
How many takes? How many takes do you
right,
think it did
right,
for that
right.
guy?
Oh yeah.
How many takes did it take
You gotta have you have to have a good sense
for
of
our
humor,
guy
and your
Derek Hall?
social media team has to have a good relationship with you where they're like, "Hey, bro, you got to do it again. Not this
No
one.
cap.
Yeah.
What's the thing about demure? Why is that becoming such a big word
I
these
don't
days?
know.
So demure, so mindful.
I haven't heard that
It's
one
a
yet.
thing. I thought that was a TikTok thing.
I'm sure
It was
is.
from last year, I thought. It was
Yeah.
like it's been going around for a while. I thought some lady, some chick, some TikToker woman
Uh-huh.
I hope that's how.
did it. Someone's gonna tell us in the chat.
I
Charisma,
hope that's
probably.
how Jocelyn talks to the kids at Sage Creek. No
Yeah.
cap.
Yeah, it's a
Negative
TikTok.
aura. Got to hand out the positive,
Uh-huh.
negative aura. That goes a long way.
These seats are fire.
Seats are low key fire.
See, like if I talk like that around the high school kids, they would they lose their minds. But like around the college kids, they think it's so funny. They troll the high school kids.
The Padres could recreate this TikTok with Ben in Peoria the next 3 days. Like Higgins could
But
pull
now you're
off-
just kind of stealing it.
I mean, you
like,
are.
Yeah,
You are, but
Well, that's the best thing about content. You can.
that's true.
That's how all these
Mhm.
people make all this money on the algorithm. They just take the trending thing, do it
Right, I guess
themselves,
that's
and
what
they
they
make.
literally do
Yeah,
on
that's how they
TikTok,
make
right,
millions
yeah.
of dollars doing this.
Yeah, it's true.
no cap.
Although having Ben and Sam do a
Sam would be funny,
conversation would be
too.
Mhm.
hilarious if they're talking like a Gen Z.
Sam would be
Mhm.
funny because he's just got that broad broadcaster's voice, No cap.
Eggy
Low
Rosario
key
with the
fire.
double the gap, positive aura.
And the triple sow cow.
What was the one I fear? What did they say? Common sense.
Common sense, I fear.
Common sense. Why do you fear
Common sense, I fear.
don't
I
know.
fear is always like it's at the end of the sayings. Kids say that too.
So
I'm afraid.
confused. Okay, it is time to take a last break, and when we come back, it's time to open up the phones. Ask us anything, including Gen Z nomenclature. You can ask us about that.
Yeah. Test our knowledge.
Mm-hmm. We don't know anything, but give us a shot.
We got to play that. We got to have Elo see if he could translate that video for us.
That would be kind of fun.
That'd be great. We'll give it to Scraby, see if they put it on the afternoon show.
833-288-0973. Our phones are now open. Bang, done. 10 minutes. They'll stay open. 833.
No cap.
288-0973. Give us a call.
You get positive aura.
Aura points will be distributed to every caller.
All-time aura, I'm afraid.
833-288.
Go to break.
833-288-0973. Ask us anything next. Give us a call right now. Bye. Great to have you here with us. Gwen and Chris coming up. It's Annie and Elsten for one more segment with you. We'll be back tomorrow with a full 4-hour show. Here's something I did miss earlier this morning. Something small, but SDFC news. There was a trade today. The Chrome Dragons acquired young defender Luca Bambino. What a name. Bambino, the great Bambino. Luca Bambino on loan from LA Football Club in exchange for a 2025 international roster slot. Bambino was part of the SDFC academy coming
That's
up
cool.
through them. He's a young player. So some more depth.
So they're renting him?
He's on loan. He's
right?
on loan. So what that means is that you give up something, not a lot. The player gets to play for your team instead of their team, but then at the end of the year, the rights revert back.
So at the end of the year, he'll go back to LAFC.
Correct. Unless they, worked some kind of deal.
Purchased the contract.
Right. Yeah. Made some sort of move along the way. But loans happen a lot in soccer.
Loan. It sounds so funny.
It does.
I'm gonna
Usually
loan
it's
you this player.
Yeah.
Can you
Usually it's
imagine
down
the
a league.
Dodgers are like, I'm going to loan you this guy. Like,
Right. No, seriously.
Yeah, for the playoffs and stuff.
Let me give you a completely, I think, cogent example of if baseball was like MLS, right? If baseball was like soccer, the Dodgers would loan Chris Taylor to a team. They would loan Chris Taylor to the Reds for a year in exchange for whatever, because they just don't have any place to play Chris Taylor. Right. They, no matter what, Chris Taylor can't play because they've got 700 guys in front of them. But you want, if you're a soccer team, you don't want your guys to not be playing because of
right. That makes sense. Yeah.
They get them reps.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You need minutes. You need to get their, get their legs moving, so to speak. So you loan a guy. Usually it's down a league.
Do you call Loan Pronto to do that? Or?
You don't have to.
Oh.
Yeah. You can call
Pronto.
MLS loan. Loan Pronto. And just for your house mortgage, you can loan a player.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Great.
No, that's how it will work. So that
makes sense. Yeah.
Let's
It's a
say,
little weird, but it makes sense.
let's say that, Kyle Hart didn't make the Padres and the league below is AAA here. But in soccer, the league below is USL Championship, where there's no, you don't have a minor league
So
team.
better to keep him playing and competing. And
Right. So you would be loaning out Kyle Hart to some team in USL Championship.
What if he
that way
likes
he gets
that
to
team a
play.
lot better? Like, what if he's...
And you make a deal, you
All
make a move later
Yeah.
on, but you get to keep the reins. You get to keep the rights.
Also, we were talking about Tirso Ornelas quite a bit this show, and I just saw AJ Cassavell put out a nice little piece on him. So if you need a little primer, go ahead and read that. That just went up on MLB.com.
Great stuff.
In our closing minutes, let's get to the phones and hit the bumper. Let's do it. We will start things off with Cameron downtown. Hi, Cameron. You're on the air. Ask us anything.
Hey, Craig. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good. I wanted to ask you, Craig, a question about soccer. It's not so common in the U.S. and in general for someone to kind of be a natural soccer fan. So being a person who has followed soccer, I was curious about what your journey was. Was there a particular moment that you got into soccer? Was it a particular thing that piqued your interest? Like, was it just kind of a natural development over time? So I wanted to get that. For me, it was definitely a particular moment watching Chelsea losing penalties. I felt so bad. I felt so bad for John Terry when he slipped in the UCL final and his final shot hit the post. As a young kid, I felt terrible and decided I want to learn about and follow their team so I can get into it.
That's
So
wild, Cameron.
Yeah, I want to get your understanding on your personal journey, or what was it that piqued your interest in soccer?
No, thank you, Cameron. I appreciate it. For me, it started with probably with the 94 World Cup, to be honest with you. And the World Cup that was hosted here in the United States, and seeing the U.S. team, through high school, I didn't really pay much of any attention to soccer. By that point, I started to, and then that led me to watch some EPL action. I remember, even though I've never truly adopted an EPL team, there was a moment in the mid-90s, and Man U was so good, right? Manchester United was so good, and watching guys like Ryan Giggs play, that got me in, that got me closer in, and then I went all the way in when I started working for the San Diego Sockers, and that got me associated to the soccer world, and then that just brought in outdoor. I started becoming a supporter when I went to an LAFC match in 2019. That carried on to become a member of the Locals and Chavos de Loyal, and to be a supporter for Loyal, and by that point, then I was neck deep. So there's my journey, Cameron. Thank you so much. I appreciate the question. Let's keep things rolling. Here's James in El Cajon. Hi, James. Ask us anything.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. I had a couple questions for you, and it relates to the Padres.
All right.
You know, I love that team. Only team in town, as far as I know.
Baseball team, yeah.
Yeah. You're not airing the games in spring training. Is that something I should expect?
All the games.
Take that up with Adam.
Yeah. We carry weekend games here on 97.3 The Fan. I think the next one we're carrying is Friday evening here on The Fan. The day games, we did carry the first one, but so that we don't, our show, take an entire month off, they are carried on the web on Padres.com. So you can find them all on Padres.com, MLB.com, the MLB app. And that's the way, my friend, that you can catch the games during the day.
This is the way.
It is the way. Here's Will in Oceanside. Hi, Will. Ask us anything.
Hey, guys. I have a question about City Connects. I heard they're considering redeveloping the City Connects.
Yeah.
I kind of like a beach theme or like a Polynesian or a Latin theme. What do you guys think?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Like, if you could design the next City Connect, you got any ideas?
I would just put tacos all over it.
Just tacos.
Making a 98 inspired one.
Go blue orange. Some little blue orange. I like that idea. Charisma says bring back the sand.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That'd be wild. The sand.
I have a feeling. I just have this feeling that they're going to still stay in like a maybe a Mexico inspired theme, almost like a Baja. I feel like they're going to still stay in bright colors and maybe a little different, but we'll see.
Last one today, Martin in Santee. Hey, Martin, not much time, but ask us anything.
Looking for some good aura. Just with all the interviews coming out of spring training, have any of you experienced sort of a Ryan Leaf moment in the interviews you've ever had over the years, where you go in with all good intentions and just get sideswiped or whacked with either the responses or just the reception?
Oh, great question.
I did one time.
Yes.
Kirby Yates was such a he was such a blank to me.
What?
That it really turned me off to Kirby Yates.
Okay, Kirby was probably just having a bad day.
I mean, it was so uncalled for. He was one of the really good ones, and he would always stand up after losses or when he didn't have a good game, and he'd answer every question. I'd maybe never want to talk to any of the Padres again. I was like, okay, I thought this guy was supposed to be cool.
Matt Latos was that guy for me.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, I've had
He
mine
was
with Matt Latos too.
No bueno.
Austin Hedges wasn't very cool either.
As always, good question, Martin. That's it for the show. For Annie and Braden, I'm Craig. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 10. Gwen and Chris are next.